Hello, everyone. This is episode 95 of the live stream, or episode number 95. Of course, in typical podcast and Kosher Dog podcast tradition, we have not yet completed the rundown.
No. And this is a really we hit a lot of traffic because it's 95.
Yeah.
Those that live in the DC area get my pun.
Or in
Those
Virginia.
who do not have no idea what I'm talking
Or
about.
anywhere along Interstate 95, which stretches from Maine to Florida.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if is 95 as bad other places.
I would assume in like other major cities, like Charlotte maybe, and Atlanta. It doesn't go to Atlanta. Does it go to Atlanta?
It doesn't go to Charlotte, does it?
It does go through Charlotte, yeah.
No, it does.
It
What?
does. I want to see where it goes through now. This is not podcast related at all.
No. Why would we do something podcast related?
Coaster Talk. $95 goes. Does not go through Charlotte. 85 goes through Charlotte. All right, I was wrong. 95 goes through.
Huh.
Goes through Columbia, South Carolina.
That's what I thought.
Goes through Savannah, Georgia. Goes through Jacksonville. Goes through Miami.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's bad in those areas.
It ends in Miami, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure it's bad in Miami because it's the interstate that people use to get to Miami. So goes through Philadelphia, I think.
Yeah.
New York. It's probably really bad in New York now that I think about it.
Actually, 95 doesn't.
It does. I'm looking at it. It goes through New York.
Does it go through Philadelphia?
Goes through
Yeah, it goes
Philadelphia.
to New
It
York.
does, yeah.
Is it through? Yeah, it does go through Philadelphia.
Directly through it. Goes up through Providence, New Hampshire. Through Boston. It's probably bad in Boston. Portland, Maine. It's probably pretty bad. Not as bad as DC, but. And then it.
Well, I mean, maybe it's some Buffalo on it, holding up traffic. I don't know what's in Maine.
Technically, it goes into Canada too. I didn't even know that. But I mean, it's another name. Well, it's called 95 in Canada too. It's just like their different definition of it. It's like their whatever, their emblem of it. But it ends like pretty soon in Canada. So.
You know, I never actually. I always thought that 95 was on the other side of. I always thought it went through New Jersey.
It does for a little bit.
Well, no, like Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was on the other side of the river.
Yeah, no. It goes through like downtown Philadelphia pretty much.
Yes. Well, I don't think that's considered downtown. Maybe it is.
It goes through.
But it goes through.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's right.
I mean, it goes through Philadelphia.
It goes through Franklin Square. It goes right past the Liberty Bell. That's like downtown pretty much. Like that's where I was when I went, and that was pretty much downtown. I mean, that was downtown. That's where all the skyscrapers are and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. Just like I always thought. I
Goes
mean,
right-
I knew it was like how you got to Philadelphia. I just thought it was just on the other side of the river.
All right, guys.
But I was wrong.
If you guys are not watching the presidential debate right now and you're listening to us, welcome.
Yes, welcome.
We're much more entertaining than the presidential debate. Well, that's a lie, actually.
No,
Yeah,
that's a lie. That's a lie.
I don't know what are we more? We're more talking about roller coasters, I guess. That's all. We're not. We might be more informative. Might be giving you some more information.
Yes. Yes. I would buy that.
Well, some more accurate information, maybe.
That's possible.
But like the presidential debate, we don't know what to talk about right now.
Oh, I'm sure they know what to talk about.
True. They just don't know what not to talk about. All right, I'll be right. I'll be right back.
All right. I'm tired. I really feel like I need to go to sleep. I actually was asleep for a brief period before. I guess I should probably get Audacity up.
Holy shit. Oh my god, I'm so glad I just got on my phone. Carowinds again posted. Carowinds is ready to return to fun. We're now hiring security associates to work in November and December 2020 during our limited operating schedule.
Those lying bastards.
Oh my god. I mean, what the heck? They literally lied. You're right. Oh my gosh. Wow. I gotta find the link for this on the web.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking a road trip to Carowinds for Winterfest.
You're not?
Unless, I wonder if they'll do New Year's Eve.
I know, I thought about that. I'm probably gonna hit it on the way down to Six Flags Over Georgia too. Here's the link. This literally it's on the Cedar Fair website. Oh my god, they just literally lied. And then they posted it to their official website.
Oh, Cedar Fair.
Where do we put this? This should probably be first now. Because I mean we've talked about it so much on the show.
Oh my god.
We have a huge rundown. Holy crap.
Alright, just move that. Move that. I don't know. Let's move something to after the...
Yeah, I guess since we've talked about this so much, we can talk about it that'll be a good second half show thing. And we can talk about that for a while. Because they've lied to us.
Yeah. Sure, that'll work. Then we can talk about, I don't know. We'll find something to talk about. I know you want to have like it spelled out, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
I don't like that.
F it, we'll do it live.
They just...
I think I need to adjust.
How did they go from like a week ago saying we're not opening at all? Look at our schedule. We said we're not opening, and then now they're literally on their website, the Cedar Fair's official website, posting about their official.
They lied.
Oh my god!
All right, guys, brace yourself. I'm gonna get loud.
I'll turn
Test. Why is it? Okay, I don't understand this. Test. Whoa.
Jesus.
Test. Sorry. Testing. Okay, I think that might be good. Me testing Audacity. All right, this is me testing my audio. Testing my audio quietly. Now I'm really, really angry. Yeah, that's not going to work. I need to turn that down.
Yeah, you need to turn that down.
Testing.
Hello. Hello.
James, shut up.
Hello, hello.
Shut up, James. I'm clipping again. What? Gosh darn it. Test. Testing quietly. Testing loud.
My fan is like a
That's-
bitch right now. It's going so loud. Sorry.
I think
it's so loud. Is there any way to like turn your fan like off? I mean, that's obviously not possible. That was the stupidest question I ever heard. Is there any way to like control
What are you
your fan
talking about?
though on your laptop? Because this is crazy.
No, I mean, just don't do as much on it.
I can't. All I have is open is only thing I have open are necessities right now.
Yeah. Nothing you can do about it. All right, I think I got my audio.
I don't think it doesn't get picked
down-ish.
up too much. I don't think. Let me see.
No, I don't hear. I've never heard it. So, and you've never heard mine. Mine can start going too.
Yeah, but I hear you breathing.
Test.
We still need to think of a weekly poll though. Maybe we transition to this. This would be good.
Testing. And I don't know if this is. I think this is. Yeah, this is better. I think.
Is
I
that
don't
a
know.
good? Do you think that's a good transition? Maybe.
Wait, we've done that before, but sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You're sure? You're sure?
I'm sure that
I
I'm
can
sure.
look back on the archive and see.
I'm all day sure.
I'll look. I'm gonna make sure because I don't want to talk about that if we have. Well, I want to see if that's exactly what we talked about. We might have talked about winter events, but I want to see if we've actually talked about like our favorites. There's no mention of it on our show. Like I never put winter in the show description, and I probably would have if it was something that we talked about.
I feel like we talked about it.
Maybe I would have put Christmas. Let me see if Christmas is one. Christ Moss. Okay, here we go. A Coaster Talk Christmas. Maybe that. No, that was before you were on the show, so I don't think.
I don't know, man. I really feel like we talked about it. I mean, it's been a while, but
Okay, I don't really want to do it then. I feel like we should transition to something though, because we're not. Carowinds' opening is not going to be the whole.
I don't know. Let's just talk. We'll talk about stuff. Plus, this show's gonna be long with all the news we have to talk about anyway.
Okay, one weekly poll then.
It's Pam's job to come up with a weekly poll.
Pam, what is the weekly poll for this week? I'm going to test my audio while she thinks.
Come on,
Hello, everybody,
Pam,
and
you're
welcome to Coaster
slacking.
Talk Podcast, episode number 95 of the show. It is July 15th, 2045. My name is Bames Jarber.
And I'm Mob Bert.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk Podcast, episode. And this is Toaster. Oh no! Oh no! That would have been bad.
Do we talk about T-shirts before? Maybe, I don't know. I don't. It was never a poll though, was it? Might be a good one.
We talked about merch. And I think people talked about their favorite shirts then. So,
Talk about discount merch.
hello everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk
Tell 'em
Podcast,
roller
episode number
coaster for
95
Forza.
of the show. It is July 15th, 2045. My name is
Disappointing.
Bames Jarb. Hey everyone, what's going on? Episode number 95. That's too loud. I'm gonna turn my gain down.
Episode I-95. We call it that.
Hey everyone, this is episode number 95 of Coaster Talk Podcast. My name is James Barber, and I'm sitting here with my good old pal, Joe Mama, and... oh, I had it perfect earlier. That's good enough. All right. Am I turning
Did
the
we
gain
ever
down
talk
or
about
up? I
food?
feel like I'm turning it up. I'm turning it up. That's why. It kept getting louder, and I'm like, why does it keep getting louder? And I'm turning it down. Hey everyone, Coaster Talk Podcast, episode number 95 starts now. I'll turn that back up.
Woo.
We've talked about theme park food before. We did Knoebels. We've talked about everything, Pam. You can't find something we haven't talked about. We've talked about food because Bob brought up Knoebels, and he brought up like the different shaped places that they have, and it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about best food.
Why can we never think of a weekly poll?
Because Pam's letting us down.
Because.
Because of the wonderful things he does.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Mm. Mm.
Hey. Oh, never mind.
Hey.
I just happened to click over into the Dutch Wonderland site and I saw 2021 Premier Pass, 2 tickets to seasonal holiday events. I'm like, wait, no, it's unlimited, but that's a platinum pass. It's unlimited. I'm so glad I didn't end up getting a Kennywood season pass when I was going to buy one.
Oh, man. That would have been bad.
Apparently you can upgrade, but you have to do it in person.
Oh
we
my
definitely
God.
talked about flat rides.
We did that like literally like 2 shows ago. We literally did our top 10 favorite flat rides. Come on, Pam. Episode 82. Oh my God. That was 3 months ago. I swear that was 2 episodes ago.
You never get that right.
That was before the photo contest even began. I am disappointed you don't remember that, Pam.
Alton Towers premium season passes exclude fireworks events. What the heck?
But they must have some really good fireworks. They're willing to use that as an incentive for people to get a better pass. So they must have some good fireworks.
That's a premium one. What's... Wow.
Sergeant O'Leary is walking the streets. Tonight he becomes a bartender. He works at Mr. Ketchup Tony's down on Sullivan Street, across from the medical center. And he's trading in a Chevy for a Cadillac. You ought to know by now. Do you like that song?
I don't know.
If I'm moving up, then you're moving out. Dun 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 dun. Dun.
Hi, I think I got you beat. I think I've seen him 3 times.
You've seen Billy Joel 3 times and you don't know what song I was just singing.
I wasn't really listening to you. I was reading.
I've seen Billy Joel twice as well. That's his best album too, The Stranger. My opinion. But I think that's his best album.
What's the best profession for a coaster enthusiast? Student?
I would say park president.
Well, no, maybe. I don't know. Park president would kind of be rough because you'd be locked in.
Yeah, but you can ride whenever you want. Like the executives for the Cedar Fair parks go all like you see them at every media day for every roller coaster. They're always there doing stuff. I don't know if that's a great poll. Like that's kind of a fun discussion. I don't know if it's a good enough poll though. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What coaster best describes the enthusiast community? Firebird.
So the coaster enthusiast community is painful. I'll buy that, actually.
Best coaster names? Have we ever done that? I feel like that's kind of a generic one, but I mean, it's.
I feel like we have, because I remember talking about Hagrid's blah, blah, blah.
All right. I don't know if we have, but I'll go with that.
I don't know for sure, but I feel like we might have. What's your favorite park entrance?
We could do that. Yeah. We could do that.
Or what's the worst parking lot?
Pam, come on, Pam. Like, I know for a fact that like a couple shows ago we did Unpopular Opinions.
Pam doesn't. I don't know. Pam is always in the live stream, but I don't think she ever listens.
It's just like we're background noise for her almost. When I start singing Billy Joel, then she's like, all right.
All right, you don't you may listen, but you don't retain. Are the Eagles playing?
The Eagles are gonna get crushed. So, no, I'm just kidding. They're playing the Giants, I think, tonight, so they're not gonna get crushed. But
there's football on Thursday nights.
Oh yeah, Thursday night football.
What?
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
That is a thing.
Okay. So wait, so we're competing against the presidential debate and Thursday night football.
And we still got 6 listeners, so. We must be more interesting.
Watch the Eagles fly into
Pam,
a
I have
window.
to say, last week, your coach made one of the worst plays. You guys went for 2, and you guys were down by like I think you're down by like 10 points or 15. It wouldn't have mattered. But going for two was so pointless. Your coach is. You need to fire him. He's awful. I was literally everybody in the sports bar I was at. Literally like was even the Eagles fans. I was next to an Eagles fan, and he was like, I don't know what the heck that was. So that was pretty bad. What's his name? Like something Peterson. He's a moron. I'm sorry. What is? I'm trying to think of unpopular.
He can't even spell his last name right. That's not how you spell Peterson.
You weren't there. I mean, you weren't for that episode, Bob. That's why you might not remember the unpopular. The unpopular opinions one was called "You Can't Handle the Truth," and that was Timmy. That might be the let me see. No, that was the one either before or after the Bollywood one. Winning a Super Bowl does not mean anything in terms of how good you are to being a coach. If you have anybody with great players can coach to a Super Bowl. I don't consider that like a good attribute. I think Pete Carroll's one of the worst coaches of all time, and he's won multiple Super Bowls. He's a cheater. He's a jerk, and I don't really think he's that great of a coach. And he's won a couple Super Bowls. So.
Oh, actually, wait. Message. There is some very NSFW stuff on that link. Can you delete that message, James?
I don't even see what message.
Maybe it got filtered.
I would see it though. If it was on if I would see it. Because I'm the
You see the link I posted?
The what?
The message I posted in the chat.
No, I don't see your message.
Okay, good.
Why?
Because the site, the video linked to is fine, but then I like scroll down and the site is very NSFW.
Okay.
Like very, very NSFW. Okay, good.
I'm just saying, Pam. I think he had called one of the worst plays of all time last week, and even Eagles fans were even like, "What the heck's going on?" I don't know. That was one of the weirdest calls I've ever seen in my entire life. One of the worst calls I've ever seen in my entire life.
All right. Does this link work?
All right, so we're gonna transition over
through?
because we're gonna start talking about the. Wait, did we just sign in a poll? Best coaster entrances.
I said park entrance, but coaster entrance is actually
Park
works.
entrance. Park entrance.
I actually like that.
Park entrance. Do you want to do coaster entrance? I'd rather do
Either one's fine.
I feel like park
coaster entrance is, I think,
maybe like
coaster
plaza. Maybe like like what coaster has the best plaza? Maybe. Maybe do you want to reserve that for another? We could just reserve one of them for another show. Which one would you rather do this week? Park or coaster?
I'm completely indifferent.
Right,
flip a coin. Like.
All right, flip a coin. Someone flip a coin. I'll flip this bottle cap. This is heads. This like weird. You see that? Like this is heads. And this is tails. This like the other side of the other side of the bottle cap. Here we go. It's heads, so we'll do park. All right. That's how we get things done here.
Can you play a YouTube video to the live stream, or is that too difficult?
I can. I'm gonna have to set up something for it real quick.
This link, I want to show Pam the live look of the Eagles.
All right, let me create a scene real quick.
I sent her on Discord.
I don't know how this is gonna work. All right, let me go to browser.
Don't put too much time into it if it's.
Well, I know
difficult.
it's not too hard. I mean, I've done this before. We're gonna go away for a second, guys. You can probably do it, because I added it as a browser instead of a window. I know you can't see it, Pam. I understand. Yeah. 1 second. I need to open this as a. This is good. I need to test this out. Make sure. What'd you say?
Apparently, you can't post links in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. It's up. Here we go. I'm going to transition to that real quick, guys, so you guys can see that, and then we'll transition back and we'll be ready for the show.
Live.
All right, we're back now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
I did.
All right. Let's go. That pretty much sums up the Eagles, though, for you, to be honest.
Exactly.
USA, USA. All right, let's get to the show. You ready?
All right.
Do you think any of this is worthy of me doing a video on it?
Palace, maybe?
I was thinking the drop tower, maybe.
I feel like the Palace thing, though, might not be covered as much and might be, like...
I feel like that thing means more to a majority of people.
Yeah, but everybody's gonna be talking about that. It'll just be a
Yeah, but I mean, when we
drop
did
in the bucket.
our most popular video is of the SNS, is of the Raptor at Magic Mountain, and that was talked about by a lot of people.
Actually, is it? I thought Field of Screams was
Well, Field of Screams.
by
Well, I
like a
mean,
lot.
like the most popular video with me and you doing analysis. Yeah, the Field of Screams video is going is surpassing that with
I
flying
don't.
colors.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. But yeah, I think we should do the SNS. I feel like that I can do more with that with the thumbnail too. All right, let's
You can link to use Kennywood or something. I don't know.
I feel like there's more substance.
You
with
could
the
use Steel
SNS.
Curtain. If you say so.
I say so.
Fine.
That's where I draw the line, Bob.
James has spoken.
It is,
Actually, you know what?
it is Bollywood. It is a ripoff of Dollywood. I'm just kidding. I like making fun of myself too.
I need to go grab a drink real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, Pam, I'm gonna censor you. I'm putting you in timeout, Pam. I'm gonna put you in timeout if you don't cut it out. We're gonna be canceling some more people this week. Don't make me do it, Pam. Don't make me be the one. But Pam, by the way, Eagles. It's the better team right here. Better team right here. All right, you ready?
What? Why is Pam saying she needs to censor you?
Because she flipped us off on the chat and I held it for review. Timeout if she isn't cool. So,
We need to get Sheets to sponsor us.
is Horses Don't Stop? Is that? I don't know if they're still here, but who do we know them or? I don't feel like
I'm not sure.
That was the individual that said he knew. He'd seen Billy Joel's voice, or they. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. That's presumptuous of me.
It's like it's so funny. I never intended to see Billy Joel. Like I never set out to go see. I mean, I really like Billy Joel, but every single time I was like my sister, like, "Hey, Billy Joel's coming to Pittsburgh. You want to come up?" Okay. I think I really think it was like three different times that exact same scenario happened.
I've seen him in Virginia Beach and Washington D.C.
I think one of the times I did see him in DC. I think it was like I don't know. I definitely saw him twice in Pittsburgh. I think I saw him a third time in
How do you not remember?
DC.
I feel like I remember every concert.
And I don't remember a lot of things.
Bob, I think that's directed at you.
I don't care. I spent $100 on a headset. It's fine. I don't care if it looks like a headset or not. It does the same job.
Thank you. All right, are you ready for the show?
There's no way that you didn't just set that up.
You think that's me?
I don't know.
That's what's his name? That's Marcus from the Drunk Riders podcast, I believe. So
But why do I just have this feeling that you're
It's
like
me. Yeah, it's me.
you're like,
It's me,
huh?
Bob.
See that?
It's totally me.
All right. Let's like record a podcast or something.
I want to convince you that it's not me somehow. I don't know how to do this though. Oh, you have to record yourselves. All right. Look, didn't do. I'm not typing right now. Send something, Marcus, and prove that it's not me.
No, I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that it's you. I'm saying that like I could see you sending a message to somebody saying,
Oh,
"Hey, can you hop in the live chat
yeah,
and
and
say this?"
randomly say get a better headset, which we haven't discussed at all today.
Nothing. RMC's done. They can RMC a empty plot of land. That's what I want to see RMC'd.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't know if I can have. I think
Do
wildcats.
not. Why? See, why is that a hot take? Oh, I'd love to be on the show.
Bob is. I kind of agree with Bob. I don't know if anything. I like ground up RMCs now. Like I don't think there's anything on the East Coast particularly needs to be RMC'd. Like I can't like why
See, I don't even agree with that.
he does not like
Twisted
Steel
Timbers
Vengeance.
is far better. I like Steel Vengeance. I like Twisted Timbers far better than I like Steel Vengeance.
Nah, brah.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely don't agree with that one.
I know, but whatever. I haven't been on a lot, but I was. Yeah, proper. That may be happening. That's why everything's on sale. Oh my god, they're selling all the merchandise. They're gonna close Lightning Rod.
I think actually most ground up RMCs are what is considered the
Dude.
best. I mean, you think Lightning Rod, Wildfire. Those are the ones that are a lot of like, even Zadra. Like the ground up RMCs are like what are the most critically loved rides by most of the enthusiasts. All the big name arms. So I don't think the RMC needs to do all these existing rides anymore. I mean they have a product on their own now that are just as good if not better. Many will say. Like yeah, Steel Vengeance is the one exception that most people will say is the best. But other than that, Lightning Rod, Wildfire, Goliath, Six Flags, like a lot of those ones are like Zadra, like I said.
It really, I cannot think of a single wooden coaster on the East Coast that needs RMC'd.
I
I
can't
mean,
either. I'm
what we
having a
have
tough time.
is
Blue
great.
Streak at Cognac Lake Park, but other than that,
Yeah.
okay. No, I can't. And if we mean East Coast, like actually East Coast too, because we're not talking about like Tennessee or anything, or I can't think of it, or like any other. It has to be
Love
an actual
Conneaut
state
Lake
touching.
Blue Streak. That I'll tell you what, my dad and I went up to ride Blue Streak together. I think it was 2017, maybe. And we were both like, "That's it. We're driving up. We're gonna do a few laps." We both got off and I need a break. We rode again multiple times, but we needed a break. It was amazing though.
The Flyers there.
At Conneaut?
I can believe it.
Oh, I believe it, but I don't know if the Flyers were there then.
When did you go?
I think it was 2017. That's Conneaut's charm.
All right, so
I do like Connie, and I love that it's just like literally just city streets. It's like what you would set up as like a carnival. It's awesome. It's like where's Blue Streak? It's 2 blocks down. And it's literally 2 blocks down. All right. You guys have a good show too.
Yeah.
And sometime let me know. We'll I'll come on, and you guys can come this way too, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we have an idea for that, so.
And front's better than a back in Candemonium, James. Sounds good.
All right. Back is so much better. Come on.
Nope.
I think I have more rides on it than you too now. How many rides have you gotten on Candemonium this year?
Six or seven.
Oh,
Seven.
I have about that too. I have a 5 or 6, I think.
Or wait, no. We rode twice with my sister.
Well, I have more
It was
rides
like
than you,
8 or
Papa
9.
Penguin, for sure. That's not even. I know that. So.
Yeah, I think it's probably like 8 or 9 because what I forgot about the first. I forgot about opening weekend. Was it opening day? I don't know. No, it was opening day that we were there.
All right, you ready to start, Gosh? It's 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Here we go. This is Real Coaster Talk Podcast this week. We're back into the grind. Starting an hour after
Central
the show.
time.
Central time. That's what we got to start saying.
We're on time.
We got to start saying that.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be a long show, too. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2.
Episode number 95 of Coaster Talk Podcast starts now. My name is James Barber.
And I'm Bob Mertz.
And you're listening to your source for everything roller coasters. This is Coaster Talk Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, for another week of fun. It is October 25th, 2020. No.
And
that
there's
was
a lot
posed
to
as
talk about.
I posed that as a question. Is it?
Yep.
Is that the date?
We're back.
I had
We're back to the old coaster
my
talk.
audio is not right anyway, so
We have 2 more takes of this.
My audio is doesn't look great either. I need to make sure it's looking okay.
Yeah, 25th is correct.
25th, 2020. All right, ready?
3, 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coaster Talk Podcast. This is episode number 95 of the show. It's October 25th, 2020. My name is James Barber.
And I'm Bob Mertz.
And you're listening to your source for everything roller coasters. Welcome back, guys.
It's a lot to talk about today, James.
Oh, my gosh. I don't think I've ever seen the rundown that's packed full of news. Yeah, I don't think it's crazy how much stuff we got.
Yeah, and a lot of really cool stuff, too.
Yes.
Actually, we don't have any bad news.
No, this is a very positive and very good news episode this week.
No this is the first time in a while since we've had no. Well, unless you want to talk about the clearance merchandise of Lightning Rod.
Yeah. That, because we all know that whenever anything goes on sale, any merchandise goes on sale, that equals ride being torn down or ride being altered in a significant way. There's no other conclusion to come to from that, Bob. Didn't you know? That's just common knowledge.
No, no. Oh my God, this community sometimes.
Oh man.
I bought a cheap keychain. This coaster's doomed. Oh my God.
Oh man. I love it.
It's unreal.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's not real. It's not really news at all. Somebody's just been like going, oh, all the lightning rod stuff's like. I think the thing that bugged me about it was there was a post on Reddit, and it wasn't even so much like they just kind of made a statement, but it was like for at least for a while, the number one comment was, "Oh my God, goodbye goodbye lightning rod. It's like, oh my god, like this is really what people were taking away from this. Oh my god.
And the thing is, I think that's what the post was
Anyway,
originally supposed to mean. Was it was supposed to be like, kind of like, it was directed in that way. That's what they wanted the response to be. Like, oh, it must be Danny torn down though. And the fact that everyone just went along
yeah,
with that was like,
yeah,
oh man, come on. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, sure, that's always a possibility, but like that's not the first thing I think of. Like first thing I think of is, oh, good, cheap merch. Like I mean, yeah,
so next time any merchandise at our home park goes on sale, Bob, Kings Dominion or Busch
well,
Gardens.
see,
Hey,
Busch
hey, hey.
Gardens started selling all
Yeah.
of their stuff, all of their 40th anniversary
Yep.
stuff went on sale. Like
The park's closing. The park is
like,
done. Busch Gardens is closed, guys. It's over. That's it. 2020 was the
it was
last.
a good run.
That was the last season for Busch.
Oh my god. Or Loch Ness 40th, right? It was Loch Ness 40th. That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, you know what would be really cool
What?
if we saw a custom Vekoma roller coaster in the United States?
That would be pretty dang cool.
Maybe at a park that I kind of want an excuse to go to.
Yeah. It's a park that's always like, I swear, everybody always asks me about this park. Have you been to this park before? Every time I tell people I like roller coasters, have you been to Coney Island?
Yeah, and more specifically, Dino's Wonder Wheel Park.
Yep.
This is kind of an interesting thing, and I don't know if we talked about this last year or not, but there was a post on Reddit of somebody asking, like, if you had this much space, what would you do? And this conversation went on, this post went on, and eventually everybody deduced that this was somebody that worked at, owned, or was highly associated with Dino's Wonder Wheel Park. And as it went on, it turned out that this person was legitimately this could all be a scam. I will say that like as a possibility, but it seems pretty legit that this was actually somebody from the parks just kind of doing research, which I think is awesome that a park's coming to, enthusiast groups and going, hey, what's your opinion? Well, today, which is Thursday the 22nd, he posted another post on the roller coaster subreddit, and he said that, yep, they got another big coaster. There's an SBF Visa coming next year, or 2021 for sure.
Yep.
But they also bought another coaster, and everybody was able to get out of him that it's a Vekoma and it's custom.
Yeah.
But that's all we know. And he won't share anything else because he says, the marketing guys have to have their fun, and but it's kind of really been a cool thing. There is some, take a grain of salt with it just in case. But I do remember this when all this came up last year. I remember like being this big thing. Like I kind of was like glued to this thread, waiting for somebody to debunk this. It's like, this is not that guy. And as more went on, there was more that kind of supported it than actually argued against it.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning more towards the, reliable source.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I mean, looking at this park is such a small family park. It's very, plausible, and it makes a lot more sense. This isn't some major chain. This isn't, like a marketing.
Oh yeah,
person
if this
doing
was like somebody saying like Cedar Fair Park, or like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'd laugh them out of the
That's
out of the subreddit.
exactly. But the fact that this
Uh,
is such a small park and it's so easy for them to just hop onto social media and tease us a little bit, I think it's plausible. I think it makes sense. I'm not going to fully entrust this as fact yet, but I definitely think it's a lot more reliable than some people might think. So I definitely think this is definitely a good
Right.
basis of information for now. Yeah, for sure. I do want to point out that they did actually. Bob talked about the previous stuff they did about a year ago. About a month ago, they did. I'm just now seeing post something else where they said, "Why are there so many Why are there not so many new generation Vekoma coasters in the United States?"
Yeah.
Nobody responded to that, or somebody actually they did respond to that, but Their
It
question
didn't
was,
gain a lot of traction, but
yeah,
the post didn't. But yeah, it was yeah, it was kind of like, you kind of look back and you go, oh, it was a leak. I actually kind of like what he did in this post is he actually capitalized all the like he had capital letters in
yeah,
his post that spelled out Vekoma.
yeah.
Um,
What are we getting this
and
year? I
it took
don't
a couple
know. And I
posts
was like,
before somebody got that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. He did everybody brought up Chance Hyper GTX, and it sounded like they actually looked into it, but it just wasn't gonna fit in the constraints of where they wanted to be.
yeah.
Which is disappointing. I would have loved to see another Hyper GTX,
Same,
but
same.
you know, I also really want to see some new generation Vacomas in the US. So this is awesome.
I do as well. So I mean, I don't know what exactly this is gonna look like, but it's gonna be. I'm hoping it's something different and unique to the states. Maybe we see a new generation become a launching coaster. Uh, I don't know. A lot of people are thinking it's gonna be on along the lines of like Dragon Flyer or Freedom Flyer. I hope it's a little different though. I hope they do something special for this park.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be more on the family side of
Oh
things.
yeah, for sure.
But
I think that, yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I don't know. I'm really anxious to see what this is. And I have absolutely no no issues with a family coaster.
You're killing me.
I
I was
what
trying to type it up real
when
quick.
you start
I was trying to say you
when
can
you start
transition to the
pointing at the
Platinum Pass.
screen, I don't know.
I was trying to say
I
you can transition to the Platinum Pass, but
oh, we discussed that. I was going to.
okay. Well, I didn't
Whenever you
know.
start pointing at the screen, I get like I have no idea what
You get
you're like
PTSD.
trying to say. I don't know about that, but
Just kidding.
well, there's a train coming by anyway, so
All right,
can you hear that?
you can just start. What?
Oh, you can't. There's you can't hear the train in the background.
No.
There's a train in my backyard, so like let's hold on a minute. Do you really don't hear the train?
Not right now. No.
Wow, it's like the loudest train it's passed in a while. Yeah, Pam can hear it. You can't. It's going through your computer. Now I hear sirens. All right, I think the engine's by. We should be good now.
All right. How can Pam hear it and I can't hear it?
I don't know.
That's not possible, Pam. Like I
Didn't
literally.
you hear me just say that?
Yeah, but I don't like. I don't. I don't. Now that I'm thinking about that, it doesn't make any sense. It's going through my speaker, so my headphones are what she's hearing, and I can't hear them. And I literally have the headphones in my eardrum, like right now. They're up my ear right now.
I don't know how you couldn't hear it. It was loud. Usually they don't blow the horn like right behind my house, but this train was. It was really
They're like, "Oh
loud.
my God, it's Bob!"
he's on the live stream.
He's
The
watching. He's
engineer's
one
on
of
the
the guys.
live stream. All right. Now I gotta figure out what I was saying.
I am calling you a liar, Pam. That's exactly what I'm saying.
All right, I'm gonna cut it where I said I have. Wait. I'm really anxious to see what this is. I'm gonna cut it there.
What minute mark was that?
8:24. You weren't really saying anything at the end, so
I know, but I'm gonna cut it there anyway, just so.
okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
I'll pick up.
All right.
3, 2. I don't have any issues with it being Family Coaster because you know my love for Merlin's Mayhem, which is
Yeah.
you know the cousin of the Vekoma families. So
Mhm.
you know, I I'm not gonna complain about that.
No.
And speaking of Merlin's Mayhem, guess what I did this week?
You wrote it.
No, it's kind of close.
And a little bit.
The thing that I didn't think was gonna happen, I just bought a platinum pass to Dutch Wonderland.
They've been listening to the show, right? I guess so.
I said platinum. Apparently they might have been listening because Palace Entertainment for the first time ever is selling platinum passes, and it's $149.99 or something like that, and it gives you access to all of the Palace Entertainment properties, which the main ones are Kennywood, Idlewild, Sandcastle, Dutch Wonderland, Lake Compounce. And then there's the one in California. I can't remember the name.
It's like Waterworld, I think,
ton
maybe.
of water parks.
I think it's Waterworld.
No, there's also a
I think there's a Water Country. They do own a Water Country too.
They own a ton of
they own a bunch of water parks, so
they own a ton of water parks, but they have another dry park.
Do they?
It's called Castle Park. That's
Castle
the one
Park,
I'm thinking
okay.
of. Castle Park. But yeah, so it's unlimited admission to all of those parks. There is some different. Each park has a different way they handle the seasonal events, which would be the Halloween and Christmas events.
Mm-hmm.
The Dutch Wonderland Pass says unlimited admission to seasonal events.
All right.
It doesn't specifically say only to Dutch Wonderland. I'm not really sure, but like if you go over to the Kennywood site, when you purchase a Kennywood Pass, you get 2 tickets, I believe, to the 2 or 3 tickets to the seasonal events.
So Phantom Fright Nights and their winter event.
And each one has their own unique thing. You also get a free souvenir cup and unlimited free refills with the Platinum Pass.
Gotcha.
You get 20% off of merchandise. It's actually a pretty good package. And I will say this, there was some discussion about this and how there seems to be a trend of Palace kind of limiting their seasonal events. I don't know. I'm a little bit indifferent to this because we see how ridiculously busy haunts get at the Cedar Fair parks.
Yeah.
There's part of me that's kind of like, well, you know what? This might kind of prevent some of that. I'm not totally upset. And I do like this a lot better than the way Kennywood had operated before, where depending on your pass, you had some seasonal event access, but you had blackout dates and you had to worry about this. And I ended up one weekend going up. I wanted to take my niece on one night, my nephew on the other night. And it turned out one of those nights I ended up having to buy my own ticket that I wasn't planning for because I didn't understand. It was just confusing. This is a little bit easier that there's no blackout dates. It's just you have, you get your 2 tickets and you can use them anywhere,
anytime.
anywhere you want.
Yep.
So I think it's an improvement. Sure, ideally I'd want to just be able to walk in whenever I want. But this is an improvement over what they had.
Keep dreaming, Bob.
But this is literally what I've been saying. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was discussing how it seems like Parkways Reunidos / Palace Entertainment doesn't understand season passes. They don't understand how to leverage them. And this is exactly what I was talking about. This is exactly what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this pass is actually cheaper than the PA pass they did for a while that you could only get to the Pennsylvania parks.
Yeah.
So next year, like I may actually, I've been wanting to go to Idlewild for a while to just, that was one of my childhood parks. I want to go, but I could never justify spending the money to go there. Guess what? I'm going to go there next year because I don't have to pay now. And guess what? They're going to make money off of me because I'm going to buy stuff in the park.
Yeah.
And this is how parks should leverage season passes is, get people into more parks so they spend more money. But I've mentioned it before. I just have this feeling that Parkways 3 Unidos, or Palace Entertainment specifically, is
Mm-hmm.
going in a better direction. I've just had that gut feeling that better things are going to be coming, and this is kind of like the first thing that happened that I'm like, aha,
Yeah.
yes, I think they are listening.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely the right direction. This is the start of a trend almost for them.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, like I'm so excited for like words can't describe how excited I am about this because it's especially important for this park for me or for this chain for me because I love Merlin's Mayhem, but that's really my reason for going to Dutch Wonderland. So I don't want to pay $30 just to go ride Merlin's Mayhem and Kingdom Coaster and then leave an hour later. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But now, and it's the same story with Idlewild. I don't want to go and just ride a few rides and leave, which is what I would do at Idlewild because it's not really for adults. But yet there's some things that are fun that I kind of want to go and experience, but I can't justify. But now you combine all of those into one package. Sandcastle. I haven't been to Sandcastle since I was in high school. I think I'm not
Wow.
I'm not a water park guy, and maybe I may not. I don't know. I may or may not go, but
Mm-hmm. Now you have the
there's
option.
certainly right. I never even thought about ever going to Sandcastle because I was never going to pay to go to Sandcastle because, you know,
Yeah,
now I might, and now I have more of a reason to make sure I get up to Lake Compounds.
for sure.
This is just a big thing for me. I'm like this excites me so much, and I think the price point is perfect. I think I think the package is perfect. Like I just think this is exactly what they needed to do.
Well, if you needed more reasons to get back up to Sandcastle, let's talk about some reasons you might want to get to China. Adding to some more reasons you might
Yeah,
want to get to China. Because Universal Beijing Resort has now updated us on what all is going to be included in their finalized resort when they're finished with this, finished with the construction. What we're going to see, what's all going to be entailed in that resort. So you're going to have the city walk, like most Universal parks. I believe all Universal parks have a city walk, but now you have a city walk Beijing, which has a bunch of restaurants. And if you don't know what a city walk is, it's basically
is
like
that where you walk through the city?
it. It is, yeah, in a sense. You're walking through like it's like a plaza outside the front gate normally, and it's almost like its own park, but it's just full of like it's kind of like an outdoor mall kind of. They have different restaurants, different shops set up outside of the actual park itself.
It's
And I have,
actually their take on Downtown Disney, I believe,
yeah,
is how that all got started.
it's kind of their take on that as well, yeah. But it is outside. It's like right outside, directly outside the park, I believe. And there's actually the hotels that are going to be located at this park are going to be located there as well. So you have the Universal Grand Hotel, which is just announced. And again, in this, if you want to check the show notes, we have an actual video that you can follow along with the actual animation that they created for this new resort. So they have the Universal Grand Hotel. Then you have, I don't know if this is it's NUO Resort Hotel. I don't know if that's actually supposed to be like Nuho, or if that's like a word, Nuo or Nuo, or if it's just their abbreviation for something. But it's the
I'm not even gonna try to
NUO.
guess.
I'm just gonna call it the NUO Resort Hotel. So those are the two hotels that they announced, and then they actually also Let us know. Let us know the 7 lands that are going to be featured at Universal Beijing. You have Kung Fu Panda Land of Awesomeness, Transformers Metro Base, Minion Land, The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Jurassic World, uh, Hollywood and Water World. So those are the 7 lands right there. So yeah, I mean this isn't anything like we've seen pretty much all of these lands at other parks, but it is kind of cool to see them all coming together now to form one giant park. I did see, I believe it was, I can't think of what movie it was. It might have been Hollywood that looks like they're cloning the Incredible Hulk. Might have been I think it's Transformers actually, that section of the park where they actually, at least in the promo video, they just have a clone of the Hulk and it's themed to Transformers. So I don't know if that's actually what they're going to be doing or what, but that is something that was interesting to me because I was very surprised to see that, to say the least. Very, very confused if that was actually a ride that was going to be at their park or not.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I just had a conversation about this, about Hulk. Hulk was rebuilt in Orlando.
Yeah.
And as far as I had ever heard, whenever Hulk was produced, Universal actually bought 2 of the ride.
Ah.
And the other one was actually intended for a project that never got off the ground. And what Universal ended up doing was using that other ride that was purchased to actually rebuild Hulk. So I don't know, I can't back this up with sources. This is just what I've heard numerous times.
Rumors, yeah.
Yeah. But I find it interesting because, now they're building what appears to be a clone, and it's kind of like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But, if they're changing the theme, that might be reason enough to say, you know what, let's go with something similar but a little bit different. Like, so maybe we can have different decorations on the train, different colors right off the bat. Like they might figure that, like, well, rather than repaint this ride, buy new trains, like, well, if we need to fix stuff like on the existing Hulk, then maybe let's just do it this way.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a bizarre story that I had heard, and it's just kind of like, it's kind of interesting when you fit it into what's going on right now.
For sure, yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. This park looks like fun. Sadly, I don't see myself ever going to China.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be getting there anytime soon.
I mean, I guess it's I guess me going to this park is probably higher than like me going to Saudi Arabia to go to like how do you pronounce it? I forget.
Kidia?
Whatever it is.
Kidia? I think it's Kidia.
Yeah, well, whatever, that park. I think if I had to go to one, I'd probably go to China before I went to Saudi Arabia, but neither country's on my list of places that I want to go right now. So there's plenty of other parks in like Australia and London and like the UK in general that I would like to go to first.
Yes.
Japan, I'd go to Japan.
Yeah, all right. Well, also being cloned, it looks like, is Despicable Me Minion Mayhem, which is their dark ride. It looks like Flight of the Hippogriff might be cloned as well. The Jurassic Park water ride might be cloned, or I think they call it Jurassic World now, but I think it's going to be the Jurassic Park take on it because this is the Jurassic Park. I think it's actually Jurassic World, so it's going to be the Jurassic World water ride, excuse me, not Jurassic Park. But yeah, it just looks like a lot of cloning going on here. That's pretty much, they're just taking everything from different parks and kind of putting it into one, which isn't necessarily bad. They know what works and what doesn't already, and so they're going to try to implement it into this park as like one giant resort.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, when you're building from ground up, especially when you have so many different things, across the world, you can kind of like look at it and go, this worked really well. This worked really well. Let's take this, and put them all, all of the best in this new park. Um, it's kind of a good opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So the biggest and most exciting roller coaster in the resort is the Transformers Battle for the Allspark. Oh no, excuse me, the Decepticoaster. That is what the Hulk clone is. It's called the Decepticoaster. So I can think that's a play on the Decepticons, I believe, or the Decepticons from Transformers. So this is actually like confirmed as a clone. So I am now reading that. The Transformers Battle for Allspark is another popular ride that they're gonna have. So I think that might be a dark ride. Yes, but the Decepticoaster is what this clone of Hulk will be called. So that actually is confirmed as like the name of the ride and everything. So this is not just like me speculating. It's actually like they already have a name for it. They already have theming set up for it. They have all the concept art. Looks pretty cool, honestly. It almost
What would you do?
because of the overlay of theming that Hulk has with like having the Incredible Hulk and having that tunnel and everything. They have all that theming that it doesn't even look like a clone because there's so much theming going on. And I mean, being a clone doesn't make it a
That's
bad
cool.
ride either. So I don't want to like, oh, it's a
No,
clone. That doesn't mean anything really.
no. I mean, yeah, clone's not necessarily bad. Um, some can be,
Yeah.
but what would you do if they built a clone of Dueling Dragons over there?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Me
How
personally, I
frustrating
wouldn't.
would
I
you
wouldn't
be?
like. I would be upset a little bit, but I can't imagine like diehard Universal fans that were like brought to tears from the removal of that ride. I can't imagine them just doing that. That'd be like Cedar Fair
Yeah,
building a
I don't
clone
know. It's just like
volcano
you
in
started
Europe or
saying
something.
about oh my god.
Cedar Fair's like, we're gonna fund a brand new Intamin suspended coaster called Volcano and rolling it in Europe.
Well, this seems like a good time to go on our trademarked rabbit trails. Did you see that Intamin opened their first new impulse coaster just recently?
I did not. No.
Yeah, so Intamin just built a brand new impulse coaster. Um, I have to look up where it is, but like the only thing I can think about this is, oh my God, like suspended catapults next, where, you know? Um, it's in China. I can't pronounce the name. Um, Chong Chongqing Wanda.
That's
Um,
probably close enough.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but it. I mean, it looks like Wicked Twister. Um, it's a definite Intamin impulse, and
Yeah.
it's brand new. And I don't know, like it sucks because like that's the only thing I can think is, wait, maybe there's hope for another like volcano type coaster.
Uh huh.
But then I think like if they ever rebuild something like Volcano, it's going to be LSM, and I
Hmm.
don't know. Like the limb, the old style limb, I think just had so much to do with Volcano's fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's my. It's been like we're like how far into the show, and we haven't gone on a rabbit trail. So I figured
We
like we
had to
had
we had
to
to fill that hole
had
real
to do
quick.
that.
But reeling it back in real quick, I want to correct myself again because I did just read more into this Universal Beijing thing. This is the last couple of points I'll make about it before moving on. But the water ride will be the Kung Fu Panda area, so that's going to be like the normal water rides, the raft rides that we see with Jurassic Park. I believe Universal, I think the Florida Resort and the California Resort both have a like Jurassic World or Jurassic Park themed water raft ride. That's actually going to be themed to Kung Fu Panda in Beijing, but the the Jurassic World adventure attraction is going to be a clone copy of the Amazing Spider-Man from Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure, and I've heard a lot of good things about that. So it is interesting to see like another take on that in the form of Jurassic Park or in Jurassic World, excuse me. So that's what we're seeing with Beijing. They do have the same theming, but they are kind of switching up which rides have which IP.
You know what's interesting? Isn't the DreamWorks water park? I feel like Kung Fu Panda is one of the IPs that's in the American Dream.
Is it? I don't
I
know.
mean, it's DreamWorks.
It is
It
DreamWorks.
definitely fits.
And I think Universal owns DreamWorks, so that's very possible.
Yeah, I feel like so like I wonder if they're taking cues from from that water park.
Maybe that's possible. That's definitely possible. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the theming around this ride too, it's just crazy. Universal's just really stepping up their game. I feel like with theming and how detailed that gets. Because I mean, we talked about what was it? The the Nintendo, excuse me, themed
Oh my
attraction
god, I
coming to
want to go there.
Japan. That looks crazy. This looks crazy. I highly advise you guys to look at the show notes and check it out because the concept art is incredible for this resort coming in 2021. I feel like this whole episode is kind of full of us revisiting old stories that we've shared.
Yeah, there's a lot of there is a lot of revisits. So the DreamWorks Water Park has Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar, How to Train Your Dragon, and probably some others. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Kung Fu Panda is definitely part of the DreamWorks Water Park in New Jersey.
Yeah, so possible that they took a little bit of inspiration, saw that as a success, maybe. All right, well, let's revisit another story. Again, this episode's been kind of full of it. Let's do it one more time. Actually,
This wasn't from last year though. This was from last week.
yeah, this is exact. Yeah, exactly.
Or yeah, last week,
Last
2
week,
weeks
it's
ago.
been
I
a
don't know.
couple. I think we've talked about this multiple, like 4 or 5 episodes now. So we revisited this a lot because it keeps changing. I swear to God, every other week
It does.
we get another bit of information. And it's like, wait, what? I thought not, and now you are. So California has now released guidelines allowing larger theme parks to reopen only once their county is in the least restrictive COVID-19 tier. So smaller theme parks that are in the state's less restrictive yellow tier are allowed to open right now, but that's only with I believe 25% capacity or 500 guests, which is I thought Virginia was crazy with 1,000. They're only allowing 500 in California.
Yeah, this is just bizarre.
Yeah.
I know. So I actually I'd heard. I think it was yesterday that California's Great America actually sent out like a pass holder like email, update email or something, and they actually included a link to a petition that's been going around, and they kind of were asking their pass holders to sign the petition, or they're trying to petition the government to say like let's open some stuff here. Um, and this is interesting because I had actually heard this plan month at least a month ago, and it kind of got shot down. And the story was that the parks were basically like this plan was kind of presented to the parks whenever they were supposed to have that meeting,
Uh huh.
and the parks were like, don't even announce that because that's pointless.
Yeah.
There's like this doesn't really help us at all. And now it's just kind of like um I don't know. I kind of feel like is this kind of like this whole thing just feels so political. It's ridiculous.
Yes. You can just like
Like
feel
I
it.
feel like this announcement is I feel like this is just a shot of like, you told us a month ago not to do it. Well, guess what? We're going to announce it now. And now you're stuck with it because now haha,
Yeah.
we are allowing you to open, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I like
Unless
this
you're
whole
like you theme parks can open as long as you're not a theme park. Like as long as you're like a board, unless you're like a boardwalk park and can only have 500 guests in your park and your county's in this restrictive. Oh, it's just so much. It's so much craziness going on. I mean, Disney is already released a statement going. We've multiple parks around the world we've opened, and we've had no incidents of major outbreaks. We've been able to control the pandemic and within our parks. It's absurd that California is the only state, and they said that. I mean, it's crazy. This is like you said, it's very political. I'm sure
yeah.
because I mean, for a major corporation to come out and just basically bash an entire state government is pretty intense. They're like, for California to do this is absurd. There will be definitely more layoffs now because of you guys. There will be more economic downfall and it's crazy. They're just sticking it right to them.
You know what's going to happen? An announcement is going to come out that they're able to open. That announcement is going to come out like on November 4th.
Probably. Yeah.
I just think that all of this is just related to the parties fighting over the election. And I could just see after the election, even though we won't know,
Yeah. So
we're not going to know who the president is for like a month probably,
yeah.
but all the votes will be in and they'll be like, okay, whatever. Like, let's announce, go
Yeah.
ahead, open up. You
Disney,
know,
you're good
it's
to go.
safe. Really, really, it's safe. We've been lying to you. Like,
I mean, but the thing is,
like
Bob,
it's so
is it crazy or what that we like last week on the episode we talked about how Governor Newsom was like, I am in no hurry at all to even consider the possibility of reopening parks, and now he has the guidelines. It's like, what is this guy smoking? No, not party affiliate. I'm not talking about politics at all. But what is he smoking? Because he's like, this is like the 8th time he's gone back on his word. He said we're gonna talk about reopening. I want to reopen them soon. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No,
Yep.
I don't. Yes, I do. Here they are. Like, it's crazy. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
This is just a fight that's going on behind the scenes. Like that's what this is. And like the reason why we're hearing anything at all is because of that. Like, we don't want to give the wrong impression. We don't want to lose votes. We don't want to, so it's like this, it's like they're walking this balancing act of like, let's like make it, it's almost like spin.
And yeah.
But I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm all for restrictions. I'm probably more on the side of like, if we're not sure, let's not open a park. Like, but this is just ridiculous. What's going on in California is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know. I just don't see, I don't see a benefit. I don't see the reasoning. I just don't see anything.
And as we said before in
Makes no
previous
sense.
episodes when discussing this, the parks were some of the first people to say we're shutting down on our own accord. We don't even need state government involvement. We don't need them to tell us that we need to shut down. We're just shutting down because we know that this is serious. We want to get this under control, and we'll reopen when it's safe by the government. And now pretty much every state has allowed a park to reopen, except California. I mean, they're allowed,
Right.
like Bob said, they're allowed to open, quote unquote. But I mean, like 2 parks probably are going to really, in reality, open. It's going to be like the small little boardwalk
Yeah. The
parks.
reality of this is like nobody can open.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they could have come out and said, and it would have probably had the same impact. Like, they could have come out and said nobody can open, and it's the exact same thing as what they've basically said.
Oh, but see, that's the thing. When you
it's
say
all about
nobody
perception.
can open,
It's all
right,
about
exactly.
Yeah, it's all
But
about
if you
twisting
say,
their words.
but now people look at it and go, well, they said you can open. Like, why don't you get your act together, Disney? It's like, wait, hold on a second. Like, what Disney's not open. Like, what are they going to do? But it's almost like it's like shifting the responsibility onto somebody else, even though it's not their responsibility. I mean, like Disney has no control over what they're saying.
And I swear, did these state governments not see what's going on in other states? Like, I think every state that I think of has allowed parks to open now. Like, they're literally the only state. For some reason, they're acting like it's so different in California too. Like, sure, you can point to Florida and say that there's been some not great following of the rules and stuff. And I'm not going to deny that, but
if you want to look at Florida though, and first of all, let me say this: parks, I am not giving you a pass to go do whatever the hell you want. This is not what I'm about to say.
You do not have Bob's seal of approval.
If you look at like Fun Spot, where there's no protection, like everybody's just like, peeing into the wind, whatever, we don't really care, and we're still not seeing any major incidents come out of that, then obviously this isn't the most dangerous thing you can be doing. If you're opening restaurants and you're still restricting parks, you don't really understand what's going on here. And I'm not saying that, opening a park is the safest thing to do. There's always risks. There's always going to be risks.
Yeah.
But if you are going to open and this was another thing I talked about, look at the airlines. If you're going to fly to a park in a packed full airplane because they have lobbyists, I mean, like how do you justify keeping parks closed when you let tons of people into this little tiny metal tube that flies in the sky I mean, you're just like let's use some
And think about
consistency on our
not even
common
just the
sense
plane,
here.
Bob. Think about the airport itself. It's a humongous indoor
Yeah,
facility. I went to BWI to fly. I think where was it? To like I was flying to a family reunion in upstate New York, and that airport was just as packed as it had been the previous summer. I mean, yeah, people are wearing masks, but
yeah,
it's an indoor airport. You're in there, and that's fine. But then like there's all these weird restrictions about you can't be in an amusement park with less than 25% of people though. Like it's just like you have to have 1,000 people in the airport. Like BWI is like literally 10, 15 minutes from the Virginia border, and that's packed full of
yeah.
people. And yet Virginia theme parks can only operate with like 1,000 people, which is
Right, and they're
nothing.
outdoors. I mean,
Yeah, outdoors is the biggest
that's
key
that's
word.
the whole problem with this is like, I'm not saying that you need to close down the airports. I'm not saying you have to open King's Dominion. I'm saying whatever you do, you have to be like, you
Consistent.
can't say, "Oh, it's dangerous to open
You have
this,
to be
but it's not
consistent.
dangerous to
Yeah.
open this." Like, look at the science, use the science, use common sense. Don't listen to the lobbyists. Don't go with who's giving you the most money. Let's like be responsible about this and like just just use your brain. Holy crap. Like like let's just sum it up. Just use your brain. This isn't
California,
a
use your
political
brain.
battle.
That's the
Like, oh
sum of
my
what we
god.
say. I know
Just use your brain.
that's
That's
groundbreaking news here. California needs to use their brain, right? I don't know anybody that thinks that.
exactly.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's that's it though. That's pretty much what California you need to do. You got to look at it sensibly. You got to be consistent with your reports and your data and your enforcement of the regulations. It's just crazy. All right, well, I think we've hit on that. California again, allowing
Use your
allowing
brain.
pretty
Just use your brain.
allowing parks to reopen, pretty much, quote unquote. Yeah. All right. Well, again, hitting on something we talked about on a previous episode. King's Dominion let go of Tony Johnson, and that's not the news we're discussing. That we are talking about.
We told him he left.
Yeah, he's gone now. Well, he's not gone yet. He'll be leaving, I think, January 1st. So
January 3rd.
January
I don't
3rd.
know why.
Yeah, they're like 2 days after 2021. Then you can, then it's okay. It gives us some leeway to blame you when something goes wrong. Tony Johnson was here the first part of the year, so. um,
Yeah.
But Bridget Bywater will now be the replacement of Tony Johnson. She has worked at Cedar Fair for a long time. Was it 21 years?
Yeah.
She's
Something like
been
that.
working with Worlds of Fun her entire career, pretty much up until last year when she took the role on as the corporate director of operations for Cedar Fair. So she's now coming down to Kings Dominion, coming down to Doswell, Virginia, and will be the park president and general manager.
Yeah, this I the things that have happened at King's Dominion, I've kind of felt that the decisions were not in King's Dominion's control.
No,
Um,
no, definitely not. I don't think so.
and I think it's kind of like, I don't know. I may be reading too much into this. Do not quote me as this is like a fact. But at some points, I'm kind of in the back of my mind, I'm wondering if Tony Johnson is just done. Like he's just fed up. Because this kind of isn't the way. This isn't the way that I would want to retire.
Yeah.
Like the
Especially,
park has just collapsed almost, and he's retiring, and I think it's kind of like a sign that he's just like, whatever. It's not
I
like
can't
I'm not
fix
gonna make
this.
this
Yeah,
any better.
I can't do
And
anything.
then it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, let's take this new person from corporate and send them down. I mean, it's good that she has a long background at Worlds of Fun.
Yeah,
But
that's.
then if we really want to read into it, like when's the last time Worlds of Fun got a coaster? Maybe that's you quieted people down at Worlds of Fun for not getting a coaster. Can you do the same at Kings? I don't know. I don't know what to think of Kings Dominion, but in the back of my mind, I just kind of wonder if like Tony's just like, this is just like,
Screw it, kind
I've
of.
had enough. Yeah, I've just had enough.
I really
Because
hope
I
not.
don't think that any of this was his decision. Like, I don't think he decided to close Volcano. I assure you, he didn't decide to close. I don't think anybody that knew anything about that park decided to close Volcano. I think everybody that like really truly understood that park knew that was a bad decision. Um, but I like, I think that all came down to a Cedar Fair Intamin
I really
problem,
hope he
which has
didn't
been
leave
going
on this bad of a
on.
note, but if he did, I do want to
Yeah,
wish him. I mean, because as a human, as a person, I mean, I don't. Again, we don't know how much he was involved in the decisions. So even as a manager, he might have been a great manager. I don't really know. We don't know too much of like the details of what it is, all he does, and everything. Because I mean, we never really know what the park managers can and can't do. Like in
right.
terms of what decisions they're making, what terms of what they have control over. But as an individual, Tony was awesome. He was kind. He was funny. He was really awesome. I loved like the multiple times I've met him at different roller coaster events. He's been really awesome, and I've even seen him on the midways, and he was just really awesome guy. So I do hope the best for him.
Yeah, certainly. I definitely do hope the best. And I hope Bridget's coming in with a mindset that that in the back of my mind I'm thinking like I hope I'm wrong in thinking that maybe she's
Yeah,
coming
for
in with the
sure.
like corporate mentality. I hope she's coming in more with the worlds of fun mentality of like, let's make this a good park. Let's keep it, you know.
Let's make King's
I
Dominion
don't
great
know. I
again.
mean, yeah, yeah, because I mean, it needs. It's so frustrating because if they would have just left it alone, like they didn't need a coaster. They could have survived without a coaster if they would have just quit killing coasters. Um, yeah, I don't know. I hope this goes well. But again, I also have this feeling that like I feel like corporate's kind of like got King's Dominion in the crosshairs in a sense, and like, oh, we need to take control of this disaster. Even though it's like I think the disaster is because of corporate. um, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I just I really hope Tony's okay with everything that's gone on. Um, because like you said, he just I mean, I think he did a great job there. I think Kings Dominion really was a great park up until a few years ago when it was kind of like an obvious like Cedar Fair started changing. It wasn't like Kings
Yeah.
Dominion started changing, it was more that Cedar Fair started changing because you saw some of the changes like happen at Cedar Point that people were going like, why are you doing that? You know, so what like I think what he did at Kings Dominion was great. I don't know, we'll see what the future brings.
Indeed. All right, so I think this might be the first story, or possibly the first story that we have never brought up on the show. And we're now getting to it. It's the John Wick coaster and the Now You See Me coaster coming to the Motion Gate Park in it's Abu Dhabi, or no, Dubai, excuse me. So this is a 40 free spin and what looks to be like a Mack, maybe Mach spinning coaster. I don't know. And obviously, it's a 40 free spin, so it's SNS. Maybe it's an SNS free spin too. It might be a Gersa. I mean, it's a spinning coaster. So
Yeah, I don't. Oh, I thought I read somewhere, but I don't know. I think it. Yeah, it might be a mock. I don't know.
it's
I
it's a
don't know
spinning
if
coaster. It's
do
not
we
too.
have
It's
any.
just your generic. It
Yeah,
looks like a
yeah,
pandemonium clone.
yeah. Who knows? Oh, you know what? I think it might be a Mauer.
Mauer. All right.
Yeah, like a laugh track type ride. I
Oh yeah,
kind of
possibly.
feel like that might have been what I read. I might be wrong on that too, but and it looks more like a Mauer, I think, to me.
Interesting concept.
But
Yeah. Interesting concept for this ride, for the 40 free spin at least. I don't know how well they're gonna pursue this because this is what happened with Busch Gardens Williamsburg as well. I don't remember if you remember 2017 Invader opened up, and the story was you can either help raid the village with the Vikings, or you can defend the village with the villagers that are already there in New France and the Canadian settlers. Do you remember that? That was kind of their premise for Invader.
Nope.
All right, well that was their marketing point. They were like, you can choose what you get to do, and everyone was like, oh, are they gonna like? Is it like? I believe we talked about Baba Janland and their Fury ride, where they like you can go backwards or forwards. So
Yeah.
like, is it going to be a button that you push? Is it going to be there's like two different lines, or how does it work? Is it going to be like how are they going to do this? And nothing really come of it. It's just two different. There's just two different trains, and one is the train that represents the Vikings, which is the dragon, and then one is the one that represents the Canadians, which is the bear. So part of
You
this,
know what's really sad?
what?
I did not until this moment. I had no idea that's what the themes of the trains were.
that is the train. Yep, that's what they went for. It's again, there's no. That's what they said in their market, like the original marketing description and promotions of the ride were that. And they didn't really go along with that too well when they unveiled it, because that's not even really a part of the ride anymore. There's like no, it's not really anywhere throughout the ride's queue or anything. It doesn't say like choose your side or anything. It's just like get on Invader.
It's all because they had to take the balls off the catapult.
Yeah, they neutered the catapult. That's what they did. So that was what that's where all their focus went. But part of this John Wick ride is that you can either help John Wick, or you can hunt him. So I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if it's just going to be something along the lines of the trains are different themed, or if it's actually going to be, because I know there are two different sides when you load on a 40 free spin. So it could be that. I don't know. Well,
What kind of theming can you really do on a 40 free spin?
I don't know. There is some cool buildings in front of it. So I don't know if it'll be like a pre-show thing, maybe like you're going through like the queue and there's actual stuff that's different than the other queue, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that Kings Island successfully themed a giant top spin, so until that,
True. Yeah.
I mean, I never got to experience that. I'm still sore about it, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's in the building though in the concept art, but who knows?
But it does look like the entrance is in that
This
building.
is
So maybe again that's where the theming will be for the ride. Almost like for Bolton, where you walk through the immersive theming beforehand as well.
Yeah, but again, like that doesn't really give credence to a story. I mean, it's kind of the same as like Still Vengeance. Yeah, there's this whole backstory, but nobody knows that. I mean, the enthusiasts do, but I mean, people don't really read those signs. It's just kind of like one of those, like it's,
Well, I feel like this is going to be if they do what I'm thinking, like if it's on the level of like Universal or Disney, and the theming's that good, and you're walking through this building, people are going to pay attention. If they're like, oh my gosh, here's John Wick, and you're hunting after him, go hunt him right now, like through the queue or whatever, or there he is, your objective is to do this, and then there's like different. I've never seen the movies, to be honest. That's probably gonna upset people, because I know a lot of people are fans of John Wick.
It's the choice thing. The choice thing is what I don't understand. Like, how do you really do? Unless it's like something like a button, but then what do you do?
I'm thinking that again, since there's two separate queues for 40 free spins, they just have like this queue is the help John Wick, aid John Wick in his quest for whatever he does, and then the other one's like help the assassins hunt John Wick down, and then you just are like choosing whichever side, and then there's theming when you walk up.
Oh, okay. I see. If you're saying two different queues, like completely separate queues.
Yeah, because that's how most 40 free spins are. At least at one point, normally you enter through one queue, and then there's like a branch off. Like they branch off into two, because you get on you load on either side. So.
I mean, it was the same with Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But it was always the same queue. You didn't really choose.
No, well, with 40 free spins, there definitely are like a choice. Like you'll be like, it's normally at least the most recent one I rode was Six Flags Fiesta Texas Batman the Ride, and you enter like for a brief moment you're like on the same pathway, and then one diverts and you go the other way, and then one diverts and you go the other way. So you're either getting on the right or the left side. So I mean, I'm just saying, I think. Again, SNS isn't the ones really building the pathway. So if they built this pathway originally from the start, just branching off, it could be two different separate queue systems for each side.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I really give them credit for being a choose, but whatever. It is what it
That's what I'm
is.
just thinking. That's all. Based on what I see, that's all I can think of what they're going to be doing. Because, like you said, the trains aren't really look like they have any theming on them. There isn't any theming throughout the actual layout. So, and I don't know. Again, like you said, I don't know how much you can theme in 40 free spin. I don't know to what extent you can really go.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
then How You See Me Ride is based on like a casino type. Like that's what it's themed around. They have like a casino outside of it. So that's a pretty good movie. So
Yes, I love that movie.
you do? You like that movie?
Love that movie.
I think it's pretty good. So that's interesting.
And
Two
they're actually
popular
coming
film
out with
series.
a third. Yeah, I've seen the first and second. They're both awesome, and they're coming out with a third,
Yeah.
which I'm excited for.
So two great film series getting movies in Dubai. So if you're a fan of either of those, look forward to those opening. Those are 2021 rides right now. So we'll keep you guys up to date if anything else happens at Motion Gate. All right.
So with SNS,
No. I got to record the video. I forgot. So.
Yeah.
Way down below the ocean. Is everybody still sticking with us?
I'm hungry. I need food. Let's hurry up. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, Pierce. It's good to see you at Busch Gardens.
Oh, that's right. You went on Sunday.
I did. Nothing worthwhile happened to talk about, though, so.
What? Nothing worthwhile at Busch Gardens?
I mean, a polished chariot slapped. Good night rides, but.
So, I don't know. Daniel posted a... Oh, Dragon Slayer is a different layout.
Oh, Dragons. I know it's a smaller like version. It's like a more. Did you see the Reddit? It's on Reddit too.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. It's so adorable.
Yeah, it's like a baby.
That may be my favorite comment.
Do you want to talk about that? I don't think that's really worthwhile.
I don't know. Daniel posted a message in our Discord chat.
Did he?
Yeah. Kitty never disappoints with getting. I wonder if they were. Actually, now that does make me wonder what King's Dominion's free spin is going to look like.
I hope it's not the small version.
It probably is.
They just get like a family version. It's just like tiny. It's like even smaller than this one.
Okay. And that'll fit with what I said a while ago. And what's going to happen?
Oh my God, they're gonna make it
area.
Peanuts.
It's gonna be Camp Snoopy.
All right, we should talk about that real quick. Do you want to talk about that? Or no?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of do.
So much stuff. God dang, this is.
I know.
It's like the longest rundown we've ever done.
Oh. All right. Let's. I'll do a transition into this. I'll be like, speaking of free spins.
We're not just don't say speaking of, because I think I've said speaking of like 10 times tonight. I keep trying not to say it, and then I keep saying it. Did you say sticking with free spins or another free spin or something like
that? All right, and hold on, let me play back the last few things that were said. All right, 53-34. All right, you ready? I'll pick up. Oh, you ready?
1 sec.
Yes. Okay.
So it's so funny watching the presidential debates on Twitter. Like, some people are like Trump's winning. Some people are like Biden's. It's like some people are like Trump completely won that. There's no question. And then some people are like Biden won that completely. There's no question. It's like, oh my god, I literally can't tell who's winning right now because everyone's saying
And then
everybody
there's
else
me.
is winning.
America lost. There's no question.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yep. 3, 2, 1. You could do a free spin without any kind of theming, which is more than likely what we're going to be seeing at King's Dominion.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. Dragon Slayer has gone up a little bit more.
Yep, since we last discussed it, yeah.
Definitely looks like a smaller version of the free spin.
Yeah. Much smaller.
And this kind of makes me wonder, what do you think's what version do you think King's Dominion's gonna get?
We're gonna get the junior kind, Bob. We're gonna get like the kiddie coaster kind.
Yep.
The family
And you know
coaster.
what? You know, this fits into something I said a while ago.
A long time ago.
Remember?
I do. This is it. This is Camp Snoopy, Bob.
Very, very relevant. It's very relevant.
No.
Very good. Put some kind of Peanuts theme on Avalanche. And Camp Snoopy. And this is going to be the first ever kiddie free spin. That's what's going to happen.
That's it. That's it, Bob.
Oh my god. Could you,
this turned into like a lot of people are posting this as like good news. Dragon Slayer went vertical. Look at it here. It's kind of cute. Look at it. It's kind of a miniature. And now Bob's like, oh my god, King's Dominion is gonna screw us. So even a park like hundreds and hundreds, maybe even 1,000-mile away from King's Dominion is somehow still affecting King's Dominion and how we feel towards the park.
That's the thing. It's so sad because like I say things as jokes and then I go, oh crap. Like
King's
that
Dominion
actually makes some sense. Like,
oh no.
I mean, look at what Kings Island did with their Planet Snoopy. I mean, the reason why they're rated so high, their children's area is rated so high, is because they just took adult rides and put kids characters on them. I mean, like, yeah, it's like, which is genius, I guess, in some. To ride Kittyland rides.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It goes back to that like PTSD of when King's Dominion has this big announcement. It's like, oh, everybody's like on the edge of their seats. It's like Planet Snoopy. Like what? What?
I remember that so much. Oh my gosh, that was so great. Everyone was like, new roller coaster, here we go. And they're like, 3 new kids rides at our Planet Snoopy area. It was great.
Oh, it's like, like it's sad because you say these things joking about King's Dominion, and you go, no, they wouldn't let us down that bad.
They would never.
And then they let you down even more. It's like it's unreal. I mean, I don't know. Do I really think this is going to be like a Peanuts themed free spin? I don't know. But
maybe.
You know what else I just thought of is like Camp Snoopy at Cedar Point has that like waterfall with the boat, you know.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's a waterfall in that area.
Oh.
The rocks from the volcano theming.
Yeah.
I'm convincing myself of something I don't want to convince myself of. I hope I'm just joking.
If Bob gets this on the nail, guys, I think we have to award ourselves for. We gotta get an award for that.
If I didn't hit this nail on the head, I'm gonna quit talking because I don't want to ever be right again.
Bob's just the prodigy, the prodigal son. He just foretells of the
See,
of
that's
the
the
of the
problem.
of the
I
fate of
don't
King's
want this to
Dominion.
be true. I don't want this to be
Exactly. It's
true,
it's
which
a burden
probably
that
means
you
kill
don't
me.
want, but you have. I lead
Oh
others
my
to a
god.
treasure I cannot possess. All right. Well, SNS is building a lot of free spins as we've just discussed. They're also building, well, they're going to be probably building in the future some new drop towers. And also not only building new drop towers, but adding a new feature to the existing ones. So what
Yeah, possibly
SNS has
retrofitting.
announced is their Spin Shot Tower. This is the newest attraction from SNS that rotates the riders 360 degrees as you navigate the drop tower. It's the same drop tower, so nothing has changed in that aspect. It's the same tower shape. It's the same tower function. It's just that the actual ride vehicle themselves now, instead of just having normal 4 seats, you're gonna have a bench almost of 3 across, and it's gonna rotate 360 degrees as you navigate this attraction.
It's basically seats from a 4D coaster.
Forgot to record this. That was a great turn. I did. If Bob gets this on the nail, guys, I think Bob's just the prodigy. I lead others to a SNS. All right. Well. All right. You ready to start again?
Hold on, I gotta figure out where we were.
We were at 58:05. I'm on my end. We have so much to talk about still.
I know.
Is anybody out there still?
Did you say 5805?
For me, yes.
All right, that kind of fits for me, so I'll cut it there.
All right, you ready?
1 second.
Possess. Way down.
All right.
below
Oh wait,
the
where's?
ocean.
Okay, ready?
No, not now.
Not now.
Now I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2.
Sticking to SNS, they're building a lot of 4D free spins right now, as we've been discussing on the show. But what they're going to be building in the future is some spin shot drop towers. So SNS
It's a free
just.
spin on a tower.
Oh my God, Bob. I forgot to record again. Ah.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh man.
We stopped so you could record it. And what's the one thing you didn't do?
I keep doing really good transitions too. All right, you ready?
3. Are you recording this time? All right. 3, 2.
SNS is building a lot of 4D free spins, as we've been discussing on the show. But what it looks like they're going to be building in the future is some spin shot drop towers.
So it's a free spin on a tower.
Yeah, that is not necessarily incorrect at all. Yeah, you're spinning 360 degrees on a ride vehicle now. So what used to be a 4-seater, just normal drop tower with 4-seat across for each side. So there was, I believe, 16 seats in total on each attraction. Now it's 3 seats across, and it's one axis that you're spinning on this bench. So you're on but all 3 of you are on the same axis, and you're all spinning in a 360 degree rotation. And it's interesting because this would actually be added to previous drop towers that created by SNS. So they can go back and they can retrofit older drop towers with this new overlay, with this new ride vehicle that spins 360 degrees. So any of the old bland, boring SNS models that you don't like can now be new and creative with this
I
awesome
think you
new.
could definitely see this. Like, I think like Hershey's, this would be a perfect candidate for like the Reese's Tower.
Yeah,
Um, Cedar Point could do like one or two of the Power towers. Um, and I think they also said that they can program it and control where the positioning is. So you could actually kind of program it to be like Falcon's Flight, where it just you go up and then all of a sudden it turns you forward. Not is Falcon's Flight? Am I thinking of the right one? I don't know. You've all faced
no,
down.
no, it's Falcon's Fury.
Okay.
Falcon's
There's too
Flight
many
is
Falcons
the
around.
tallest roller coaster in the
Falcon's
world.
Flight is that thing. Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah, it's that thing. But it's interesting. So they can. So I guess this isn't really a free spin. This is more like an actual 4D coaster where it's actually programmed and
Yeah.
designed on where you can actually specifically have people.
Straight from the
I think
website
this is
says customized ride profiles allow you to offer your guest an infinite number of unique and thrilling thrills, including face up, face down, inverted drops, and launches.
face up is oh that'd be interesting.
You can't see the ground.
That might be oh yeah. I
Mm.
don't know. That might be really interesting. Huh.
And I think this tower itself is actually, at least based on this, seems to maybe be both a hybrid, kind of like a hybrid drop tower, like where it's going to launch you and it's going to have just a regular drop as well. So you can like kind of almost choose, it seems,
Yeah.
because it says drops and launches, almost like you can choose
Right.
which one you want to do based on the ride.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the ride vehicle is exactly the same for both of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
launch cars.
But
They're all really kind of programmed.
I've thought normally the SNSs are programmed to like at least normally they're either programmed to do like a couple launches and then go back up and do one big drop, or they do multiple big drops and they kind of launch you back up and down and up and down and up and down. So I don't know if it's actually going to be like a choice now that you can just do a drop or a launch or what, or you can just choose
Well,
whatever
see, that's
based on
the
the
thing.
ride experience or
I
based on the
always,
riders or what.
I kind of always thought that they were all just programmed. Like I could think, I kind of feel like you could just program any tower to be anything.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Like for instance, Holiday World has a launch tower, but I think they could just reprogram it to be a drop tower.
Maybe.
I don't think the ride systems
Well,
are
Liberty
that
Launch does
different.
drop you, like it does have the actual drop too. It's not just a launch.
No, it does. It just drops you after the launch. It doesn't hold you up there.
I believe Liberty Launch holds you up there. I think the first thing it does is it takes you up and it drops you.
Yeah. Nope. It takes you, at least when I was there beginning of the year, it was still this way.
All right.
It just pulls you up a few feet and then it launches you. But either way, it's kind of funny because I was actually just saying how like I feel like SNSs are like I love their launches, but their drops, like as a drop tower, I think they kind of fell. Like they just don't feel, I don't know, they feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't seem like they have the same feeling, and which is weird because I don't know how you screw up a drop tower and make it not feel like a drop. But I've just kind of always felt that way, that the drops just don't, I don't know, they don't pack the same punch as most.
And I want to correct myself because I don't know why I even thought this. Liberty Launch is it's a launch tower. Yeah, that's literally in the name. That's literally what they were trying to imply in the name. So I don't know why I thought for
Yeah,
some
it's
reason.
kind of, it just like, I think the thing is you were there when it actually shut down on us, maybe because it started lifting us up and then it stopped.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think that might be what you're thinking, because it lifts you off the ground maybe like
Yeah.
5, maybe
Because on
10
my last
feet
visit there,
before it
I rode it
launches
normally.
you.
So I don't know why I was thinking it
Yeah.
wasn't. I mean, it did. Yeah. That was just a brain fart there. But yes.
Anyway, I think that it could be reprogrammed. I don't know that for
Yes,
sure, but I feel like
I
the
would assume
systems
so
are
as
the
well.
same. I think this is great though, because actually, first of all, it's a cheaper version. It could be a cheaper version of Falcon's Fury.
Uh huh.
parks could have something interesting, and it's reprogrammable. This is kind of the interesting thing. I think back to Waldemir when they got the I forget what they call it, but it's the pendulum ride that goes the whole way upside down.
Oh yes, yes.
This is in Perla, I believe. But the thing about Waldemir when they were purchasing that is they never felt like they were always gun shy about a ride that went upside down. They weren't really sure that it would be a hit with their market.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what led them to buy that ride specifically because they could try it. And if it just wasn't a hit going upside down, they could just reprogram it to be a normal pendulum ride.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is kind of one of the things that I think could be a benefit with these towers is if you're a smaller park and you think, well, I kind of feel like we need something really thrilling, like a lot more thrilling. But you could drop, we could turn it into just a normal drop tower if it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Discovery Revolution was the name of the pendulum. That's the model of the pendulum ride.
Mm-hmm.
That Waldemir got. But I think it could be the same thing, here where a park's like not really sure that we want to go that extreme, but maybe they could get it, program it to be extreme, and if it's not a hit, reprogram it to be a little more mild. Or they don't like drop towers. Let's reprogram it to be a launch tower. Or let's
Yeah.
You can do multiple things with the same ride system so that you can kind of find
Your target
what's
audience
best
and
for your
what they
park
want. Yeah.
without going, like for instance, Kennywood built Pitfall, which was a drop tower,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a hit. Like people that loved it,
Mm-hmm.
but there was rarely a line for it. This is kind of one of those things where okay, people aren't really into the drop tower thing. Let's try a launch tower. Let's try it. Let's
Without having to
reprogram it. Let's
rebuild
try
and
something
do
different.
construction, you can easily just
Exactly.
have that available. Yeah. That's great. It's a great idea.
Exactly.
I think it's awesome. So yes, this is exciting stuff. SNS is doing some great things here with with their drop towers. 'Cause I remember you, in particular, mentioned when we were writing that you're like the SNS drop towers just aren't that great. They're just kind of
Yeah,
bland and
that's
boring.
that's what I was just saying earlier. I just don't feel like I don't
Yeah,
know. It's like how do you screw up a drop tower? I don't know. It just doesn't feel as exciting as any other drop tower.
yeah,
I think they're like the weakest drop towers out there,
I would
and
agree.
I don't really know why that is.
No, I don't either. So it's great that they're doing something new and different to improve the ride experience.
Yeah, and SNS is just in general is just doing a lot of great things. This is an up and coming company. I think we're going to see a lot of new and interesting things out of SNS.
All right, cool. That'll be the video. All right, you ready? I'll record. This is just the transition. So unless you want to talk, I think you just muted yourself on accident.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just go ahead and transition
All right, here we go.
into the break.
All right, coming up, Cedar Fair lied to us. We're going to talk about that. What does that all entail? Coming up right after this break. Wait, I'm going to redo that. 1 sec. All right, so coming up after this break, Cedar Fair lied to us. What does that all entail? We're going to talk about that coming up right after this. All right.
Those line rats. I still find it crazy that they did that.
I mean, it's so weird how like it's like this. It's like the California thing. They're going back and we're not opening. We're opening. I mean, now we have
Yeah,
complete confirmation. Like they literally just stated they're opening. Like their literal says like come join us for December, November events. Like, it's not even like 2020 season, and then they accidentally type 2020 and put 2021. But it's like November and December
Yeah.
2020 during our limited operating schedule. How are they doing this? Like, how are they expecting people to, like, I don't understand. How are they going to hire employees that quickly?
I don't know. They're gonna hire Tony Johnson.
It still says reopening in 2021 on the website. So I don't know when they're going to change that. All right, you ready?
Do they have anything on the schedule?
Nope. Closed for 2020. We'll reopen in 2021.
It shouldn't be like, sorry. They'll pull Busch Gardens. Like, wait, that's not what we meant.
We just said we were reopening for 2021 near November and December for a limited capacity event. We're not actually doing that. We just created a fake thing, fake job applicants form, a job application form on our Cedar Fair website for shits and giggles. Watch that be it.
Then that'll be next week's topic.
All right, you ready?
Next week's poll: are you tired of Cedar Fair playing games with us?
Are you tired of us revisiting the same topics every other week? All right, you ready?
Yeah. 3. Oh wait.
Oh, 1.
3, 2.
So, kind of similar to California, Carowinds has been telling us for quite a while now that they're... Time out, Bob.
All right.
Oh, the fun. Every
How's
week
the
this
fun?
happens. I need to put a lock on my door. I need to put a lock on my door. Are you ready?
Yep. 3, 2.
All right, similar to California, how they kind of have been going back and forth on their word. Carowinds is now doing the same kind of, pulling the same kind of move here. We talked about them last week's show, and I believe even the week before that, pertaining to their
I feel like we've
possibility.
been talking about Carowinds a lot, even though they're not open.
For a park that's closed, yeah, we've been bringing them up quite a bit in the news. Yeah, but a job application form is now up on the Cedar Fair website for Carowinds specifically. They said, we're ready to return to fun. We're now hiring security associates to work in November and December of 2020 during our limited operating schedule. So if that's not a confirmation that they're opening for Winterfest, I don't know what is. I mean...
Do they realize that November is a week away?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is November is next week. How are they still not?
And by the way,
announcing.
Holy crap! November is next week.
Yeah, that is true. Thanksgiving,
I can't
Christmas
believe we're
coming
into
right down,
Christmas.
right around the
Oh
corner.
my
And
god!
wow,
This year.
This year's felt long yet short at the same time. I don't know. It's weird.
I know. This is just bizarre. Everything about this year is just bizarre. I have a feeling November's got to feel really long though. So thank God Carowinds is opening. At least they're opening now. I don't know if we revisit this next week.
Yeah.
Because they changed their mind again.
We visit Carowinds or visit the topic again? Because they might even, they might be open next week. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because they're like, the website even says they're closed for 2020.
Yeah, we're done for 2020.
Did you know that November and December is still 2020, right?
I mean, they're not giving many people like all of a sudden they're just gonna be like, hey, we're reopened by the way. Just to let you guys know, by the way. I know you guys we're probably planning on us being, like we stated, shut down for the entire 2020 season and not come back in 2021. Don't even attempt.
Wasn't it just a week ago they replied to somebody said, "No, we have no plans of opening
Yeah,
for 2020 at
they
all. We're
lied, Bob.
closed." Like that.
Plain and simply put, Cedar Fair lied
Like
to
what?
us.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. This is just.
Cedar Fair, they're liars. That's, that's all we can
I
take
don't.
from.
I really would like to know what went on. What. Like how'd this all come about? I mean, the sad thing about this is they missed their most lucrative area of haunt.
I
Like
know that's a
that would
huge
have been
draw.
ideal.
I know it's really strange.
And this is the first year they'll be having Winterfest, right?
No, they've had Winterfest in previous years. For sure. I think they had it in. I think they've had it for about
Really?
2 or 3 years now. Yes, I'm 100% confident that's.
Okay. I didn't realize Carafest. I didn't I didn't realize Carafest was a thing. No, I didn't realize that they
Hey, why
actually
did they
had
not
one.
thought of that? That's actually a pretty good name for it. So.
It is a good name. I'm gonna trademark that.
And then sell it to them, make millions.
um. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be curious to see what rides they open to. Will they? I mean, they're in a little bit of a warmer climate, so
Normally, what's operating is Copperhead Strike and Afterburn, based on previous visits, and not previous visits, but previous looking on their
that
website
would have
and
been
seeing.
last year.
Yeah, looking at
Maybe
what
it
they've
was
operated in the
last year was the
past.
first.
I believe it was maybe either last year or the year before. I think it might have been the year before, but I think 2018 might have been the first year Winterfest at Carowinds. Because I think they started the same year King's Dominion did. I don't know though. That's
Maybe. I don't know.
all based on memory that isn't functioning to its full capacity right now. So, uh,
Much like Carowinds.
much much like Carowinds indeed. All right, so that's pretty much it. I mean, Carowinds. I mean, really, based in the next week or two, we will know if Carowinds is reopening or not. Like they can't hold this out much longer. They can't hold up this facade of 2021. We're not opening, but we're still hiring people. Like that. That's just not gonna roll well for much longer.
Yeah,
They're
but
gonna.
what if they don't find enough people to work?
I know. Like, what exactly? I'm like, how can you, like, 2 weeks
I
before the
mean, this
park's
could
gonna be
end.
opening, or a week before? How are you gonna be hiring employees at this? Like, nah, that doesn't make any sense.
Like this could be like Cedar Point opening, because Cedar Point.
Well,
When
the
Cedar
thing is,
Point
they're not.
opens, they
Well,
don't have enough
they're
employees.
not operating every ride too. So I mean, that's a big part of it as well.
Right, but that's the thing. It still could be that bad because I mean, it's a week away from November. I mean, obviously they're not
Now
going
it
to
has me
open the first
thinking:
week.
were those applicants that we saw, like previously, that people were like, "Oh, those are being looked at 2021. It doesn't matter." Were those pertaining to this still? And maybe
Yeah,
I don't even
I
know.
don't
It's so
know.
confusing because originally all of those said 2020, and then they went to 2021. So maybe they were just trying to, like, all the enthusiasts that were looking at it. They're like, let's psych them out and say 2021 so they don't know yet or whatever. I don't know. It's really confusing how they did this. And they still.
Yeah, but like I don't understand why they would. I don't understand why you would keep this a secret.
I know. It seems like something
At
you'd want to
least like
advertise.
that's what just doesn't seem like this isn't a hype thing. This is a
Hush
like you
up.
kind of want people to be prepared for this. Like, oh yeah, by the way, if you're looking to come to Carowinds,
And they're kind of hushing it
the
up,
end of
which
November
is
is going to
weird.
be your shot.
There's a possibility that maybe
Um,
North Carolina's being kind of a stickler about how many people are going to be coming and everything. So they're like, let's keep this on the down low.
what what if we would actually go to Carowinds and it would literally they'd have a line drawn down, like a fence put up down
Copperhead
down
Strike
the
and
center
Afterburn
of
are both in
Carowinds.
South Carolina, Bob. That's a possibility. They're like, South Carolina, you are good to go. South Carolina's like, you can open
This
up.
is another one of those things I say out loud as a joke and then I go, wait.
Nah, I think their address is in North Carolina, so they have to abide by North Carolina rules.
No, I think they could get around that because So, I don't know. I've never confirmed this, but I have heard that Carowinds hires some employees under North Carolina and other employees under South Carolina. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but
All right, this is definitely something we want the listener, any Carowinds fanatic or enthusiast that travels to Carowinds a lot and knows a lot about the park. I want to know about this actually. So email james@coachtalkpodcast.com or bob@coachtalkpodcast.com pertaining to this. If you
yeah,
have
I'd
any
really like to
information
know this
or,
for sure.
or our social media or anything, let us know because I actually want to know like what are the rules and the guidelines they have to follow when pertaining to the two different states.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, obviously, you've never really had a situation that has been this drastic of control, but I mean, certainly North Carolina is going to want some tax dollars. South Carolina is going to want some tax dollars. Like they're not just. There's no way that they're just only operating as though they're a North Carolina park when I mean South Carolina wouldn't let like they're gonna go, hey, you owe us tax dollars. Um so I mean there's definitely, like I said, I don't know if there's any truth to that of them hiring some employees, under a different state. But it seems kind of logical. Um and certainly, I mean, I guess they'd also be hiring people from both states. So yeah, I don't know. It's such an interesting dynamic.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious. I see some articles have stated that they have to follow the more restrictive guidelines based on the two states. But I don't know. I mean, they have a
Eh,
South Carolina entrance. They have, a way for you. Then they could just close off the North Carolina side of the park. I mean, it literally could work. I don't know. Again, we don't know
I mean, I
we
could
don't know the
see that certainly
legality.
being a loophole.
I feel
I
like it
mean,
could be. Yeah.
if North Carolina says like you can't do anything,
And an interesting
and
point
South
too.
Carolina says you can do whatever you want,
Yeah. Dude, I mean, it
let's just not go
literally,
into North Carolina. I don't
literally
know.
says that this article I'm referencing says that under normal operations, inspectors from the two states cover their respective rides in restaurants that fall within their territory,
Yeah,
and that the tax rates are different in each park in terms of when they buy and purchase rides, the tax. The tax that's on those supplies and materials to build the attractions is different based on the state. So there's obviously like it is actually like it's not like oh it's in North Carolina so it has to follow North
yeah.
Carolina.
And see, and that kind of falls in line with what I had heard is like when they hire somebody, they'll hire like, for instance, a ride operator for Afterburn. They're going to be treated as though they work in South Carolina.
Yeah,
Um, Whereas
I wonder if they would give like the
like
minimum wage of South Carolina. Yeah,
232 would be
probably. In this,
um like they follow those state employment guidelines, but that makes me wonder like how do you transfer? Like does that mean that if you're hired to work on Afterburn, is your rotation then Afterburn, Copperhead Strike, Hurler, are you actually able to go work on I-232?
yeah, I wonder.
Um
I don't know.
just it's such
I
an
don't know.
interesting
I've
dynamic.
never really thought about this. This is something I need to bring up. I feel like you would be able to go across the park. They probably have you trained and everything for both sides and everything. And there's probably like a median pay that they pay their employees so that there's not a conflict of interest like, oh, that guy's getting paid the South Carolina minimum wage and I'm getting paid the North Carolina minimum wage. That's bullcrap. Or, I'm sure they have rules and stuff set in place for that. But I do want to, I am curious about like the legalities that go into they're able to, like, could they operate South Carolina and like operate North Carolina too? Like, because I know North Carolina is allowing guests in there. So could they operate at both like almost two separate parks almost too?
They operate as two different
So
parks.
South Carolina is allowed to have like a bunch more people, and then North Carolina is allowed to have like whatever their maximum capacity is in North Carolina. I'm curious about this. Someone please write us in if you have any information pertaining to this.
Well, I mean, that also introduces another topic too of like whenever you purchase, like if you purchase a Carowinds pass or a Carowinds ticket, what sales tax are you paying? North Carolina or South Carolina?
I don't. I've never bought a ticket there, so I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I haven't either, but like, I mean, take for instance, I bought my season pass at Dorney. I bought my season pass at King's Dominion. Uh, and Canada's Wonderland,
Mm-hmm.
and wherever you buy it is the tax. Like King's Dominion, if you want to buy in the States, King's Dominion may be your best bet because Virginia doesn't charge sales tax on
Yeah.
that. Pennsylvania charges sales tax on the season passes. So Dorney, even though Dorney and King's Dominion are the same price, it actually is cheaper to buy at King's Dominion because of the tax thing. But how does that work with Carowinds? Because they're in both states. It's kind of an interesting
Yeah, it is. It's
interesting thing.
it's definitely something that as we progress closer to the opening of Carowinds, or maybe the opening of Carowinds, depending on what they're doing. Really, we still have little to no information on that, other than, I mean, again, there's a job application for him, but that's something that we'll probably, again, and if anyone sends in any information pertaining to it, we'll bring it up again because this is interesting. I've never really thought into this level of detail with Carowinds. I always thought it would just, they just do whatever North Carolina says because they are a North Carolina address, but I don't know if that, they definitely do follow different rules to pertaining to like
Yeah,
each side. All right, well,
and you'd also have to think health, like food safety. Like, do they have do the food establishments have different guidelines
they
because
do.
they're in different, you know?
Like
That's it. It's just
different inspectors from each state come into the
well, yeah,
restaurant.
but I mean, like this is just an example. I like let's say South Carolina requires food workers to wear hairnets and North Carolina doesn't. Like does that apply? Like
I don't know.
can
That's
you get
we
can
got
you
to
get
get
away
someone.
with it?
Maybe
Like
I'll try to get someone from Carowinds on the show and talk to them about all this.
yeah, I'd really like this is something I've always been interested in. I've never really brought it up because it never seems like anybody has really much of a clue on what's going on. But this is something I've always thought about with Carowinds is like, how does the legality of this work? It's just interesting.
All right. Well, yeah, we're gonna revisit last week's topic that we discussed right after the break, which was talking about rough coasters. We got on a huge tangent there talking about rough coasters. We gave our opinions, and I don't really think we're going to do that too much tonight because what we did last week was ask you guys for your opinions. We'll definitely tone in and give our feedback, but I don't think we're going to go into as much detail. Again, if you want to listen to how we feel about rough coasters and what we think defines them and how they are how they affect the ride experience, listen to last week's show. All right, so let's talk about some of the responses we got pertaining to rough coasters. So the first response we said, again, the question was, does being a rough coaster make it a bad coaster? Are they the same thing? Or is a rough coaster a bad coaster, kind of? Someone said yes, because for people, the roughness makes the experience better. Rough, not bad all the time. So she's saying there is a
There is a
difference.
difference.
Yeah, she's
There's a
saying yes, there is
difference.
a difference between a rough and a bad coaster because, again, it makes the experience better sometimes for some people. Which I agree. I think we
I
kind
think
of
that's
this. I think
definitely
we,
true with wooden coasters, especially.
yeah, that like Bob said, would Voyage be good last week if it wasn't rough? We got another yes. A rough coaster is rough and a bad coaster is bad. They said Mind Blower at Fun
That's a
Spot
good way.
is rough, but it's a good coaster. Iron Dragon isn't, but it's a heaping pile of garbage. I'm not going to use.
Oh, come on. Iron Dragon fits well. Well,
Nah.
I've talked about that enough. The
Yeah.
whole height requirement thing, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. It's not bad. It's
It's.
just not as thrilling.
I don't like Iron Dragon that great, but yeah, it's definitely not. I wouldn't say it's a heaping pile of garbage or.
Yeah, it
Some.
has its sweet spot for certain people. That's the thing.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad ride. Yeah. So someone said yes. Most bad rides don't offer force or very much excitement, while rough coasters add a lot to the experience sometimes. So
Yeah,
so yeah, they're saying that bad coasters are bad, and again, rough coasters are rough. Like there's a difference in between that. Another response, and this is one that I think me and Bob kind of talked about last week. He just said, I consider pretty much all rough coasters bad. That's how you're supposed to go out throughout this. If you don't like that feeling of roughness, then I feel like it has to be across the board. I hate the people that, I don't hate the people. I don't want to say I hate people. I don't hate anybody. based on their opinions on roller coasters, of course. Anyway, that's absurd. I don't I don't understand. I can't comprehend the people that pick and choose which rides they like to say, "Oh, that's rough. That one's not." But it's like the same. Like it's the same. Like I don't. Again, I said on last week's show. I feel like pretty much all wooden coasters have like a universal feel to them, excluding like El Toro and Lightning Rod, which are like different styles of coasters. Pretty much every like GCI, PTC, Gravity Group. I feel like they all have that same jackhammering, swaying of the train. It pretty much universal.
See, yes, but I think there's a magnification point or an amplitude point. Like here's something I'll tell you. Racer at Kings Island needs help.
I didn't think it was that bad when I rode, but
This is the weird thing. It depends. Like I've had some decent rides, and then I've had other rides that like I thought my spine just shattered. And like I
again,
can see, like I
I
mean,
feel like sorry to cut you off, but I feel like what happens is it's based on the actual elements that the ride takes. That effect, like those
no.
weird turns
See,
that Racer takes, are where a lot of people say it's rough, or at least that's what I've heard. But the people that do say
this
Racer's
wasn't.
rough,
This was just in a straight dip, and it was a lot of the ride. Like it was just bad.
I don't.
It not that it's a bad ride, because it's I think it's just been neglected. And I think that's the thing. I think when you neglect wooden coasters, they can become too rough to be enjoyable.
I don't know.
To some people. I mean, I think people have a different I think various people have different tolerances of
That's
like how
that,
rough.
and I don't think people understand how abstract this concept of roughness is. Like it's not like people tend to act like roughness is just it's just rough. Like everyone just that's universal agreed upon. Rough is rough, but like it's so many people interpret it in different fashions. And when you really discuss it, it's a lot more complex of a topic than people just think. It's kind of crazy. Like I didn't really comprehend that until we did last week's show, and I'm like, wait, this is a lot more deep. This gets a lot more weird and different than I thought it would. I thought it would just be, nope, I don't like rough coasters, or I do like rough coasters, but it gets a lot more strange at times. Honestly, I'm still kind of coming to terms with my own interpretation of this, my own like, I mean, am I wrong?
You're reassessing.
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
no, you're not wrong. Tastes change too. That's the other thing. I mean, I've even noticed, like, I remember when I was younger and went to parks, it was like, oh, like, I wouldn't think of going to a show or like stop it. Like, it was just ride after ride after ride. Now I go to parks and like my tastes have changed, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can go to a park and only ride 4 rides and have a great time. Um, your tastes change over the years. And that's not to say that, oh, now I don't like coasters as much. No, I love coasters, but I see value in a lot of other things. And I think the same thing
yeah.
can happen on coasters. You see value in different types of coasters and different types of elements and different, experiences on coasters.
And I just want to quickly point out, I know we said we weren't going to get too much into our own opinions on this, but we did. So we
But we
lied.
are.
We were like Cedar Fair. We lied. Um, and I want to point out the fact that everyone seems to think that one wooden coaster is rougher than the other, or this one's way more rough. It's insanely more rough. It's the most rough coaster I've ever ridden. But I think Coaster 101 might have been the one that did this, but all wooden coaster manufacturers of the modern day lead back to, I think it's PTC. All of them have members or former engineers,
Oh
or
yeah.
they all lead back to PTC. So
Well, so I think okay. I think what you're trying to see. There's a difference. Like you can't say, oh, GCIs are rough, or you can't say PTCs are rough. You can't just classify the whole portfolio of a company and say all those coasters are rough. Even DIN, which kind of gets that reputation, not all DIN coasters were rough.
CCIs, a lot of CCIs sometimes are called rough.
Here's the issue, and this is also what happens with DIN. It's not the coaster, it's the maintenance of the coaster. And that's where you'll start getting a coaster that's rougher than others. So the thing with Din, the reason why Din got this reputation was they required more maintenance because they had so much more forces on the structure.
Mm-hmm.
And parks weren't raising to that level and making sure they were maintaining things properly. That's why those coasters got rough. It wasn't because it was a Din, or it wasn't because it was PTC. It was just because the ride was neglected.
I also want to kind of revisit a point I made last week, was that, and I did say that I don't think there's much difference when you ride a GCI compared to a PTC, and I still believe that to be true. But I do want to say that I don't think that every wooden coaster feels the exact same. I think there are definitely levels of jackhammering and levels of jankiness of the rides. I'm not going to deny that because that's absurd. I do want to say that I think that people over exaggerate how great of a difference there is, though.
I think that's a very
because people will get off PTC, get off Grizzly, get off Wildcat at Hershey Park, get off, older, not even Wildcat's not even that old, but just those kind of wooden coasters, and they'll go, oh my god, that was the roughest coaster I've ever ridden in my life. I came off, I was like, I can't even walk. Oh my god, blah blah blah. It's not that big of a difference.
Wildcats just, I don't know why. I don't understand why people say Wildcats are rough. I don't like. It is not any rougher than most coasters.
Even Grizzly, though, I don't think Grizzly's that. I think that's the thing, is, again, I don't think Grizzly. I think there's a difference between roughness and then those elements that you take that cause pain. Like there's
no. See, I think Grizzly has been neglected. That's a problem with Grizzly. No, I still love it. It's the roughness on Grizzly is not beyond my tolerance. But yes, Grizzly is rougher than other coasters. That's not because of the manufacturer. That's because of poor maintenance.
I don't agree. I think the main major complaint of Grizzly is 100%. Every time I've ridden with anybody, not even just coaster enthusiasts, just friends, family, the one point of the ride, the main point of the ride where it's like, oh my god, that hurt. What is that, like, strangely profiled bank turn that you do, like after coming out of the first tunnel, you kind of do like a sharp turnaround and you slam into like a really weird turn, and that's hurt before. That is what major people complain about, and that's the element. Everything else on Grizzly, the first drop's really smooth, the turnarounds are pretty smooth, the U-shaped turnarounds are pretty smooth. Everything's pretty smooth about that ride except that one turn that kills people.
I think there's some roughness.
That's the only part that everyone's ever complained to me for being.
I'll agree with you that turn is not roughness. That's an element. Like I understand that, but I think there are spots on that track that are rough. Again, to me, it's not rough beyond the point of enjoyment.
But what is rough, Bob? Is that just the shaking of the train? Is that what you're saying?
Well, jackhammering. I'll tell you this. Like
that's where I get confused with.
You're not really moving, but like you can feel this, and you don't normally do this, but like there have been times that I've felt some heavy jackhammering coming out of the station. Again, not that like it kills me or anything, but it's definitely not, like, the ride was not intended to be that way. And it's only become that way because it's been neglected over the years, which I think is kind of a King's Dominion thing. I think their maintenance, they just haven't, I don't know, they haven't paid the same attention to their coasters as other parks, like even Kings Island, which I think is like pretty clear on just Flight of Fear. I mean, the Flight of Fear at Kings Island is amazing. The Flight of Fear at Kings Dominion is like, nah. It actually hurts me. It's so weird that the two rides are identical and one gives me a headache, the other one doesn't. But like that's the thing. Yes, if you are looking at that turn and you're saying, "Oh, this coaster is terrible because of that turn or because it's rough," that's not roughness. That's a transition. Like I don't like.
But I think that's what most people complain about when they talk about rides being painful and rides being.
I don't think it.
Rough. Based on what I've seen, evidence presented to me, and previous people talk, like I said on last week's show, that El Toro moment where you hit the Rolling Thunder Hill and you have a bit of a pothole, people will say that's rough and painful. It's normally like a one. I never heard anybody say like an entire ride is rough. It's normally like one specific point, or maybe two specific points where it hurts you and that is normally based on a
Well,
transition or based on a.
I mean, that can also be part of. I mean, when you properly maintain a wooden coaster, you're supposed to replace parts of the track periodically. So it could be very spotty on the roughness, even if it's not based on that. I agree with you though. If somebody is saying if they're looking just at that transition out of there, that sharp turn, yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. But I
I
think
just
that
don't
there
think Grizzly's
are
that rough. Other than that transition, I don't think Grizzly's rough at all.
I don't think it's bad enough. Like I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it's
But
bad
I
at
do
all.
think like I think Grizzly like I'm not even really saying it's bad. What I'm saying is like if you compare it with Racer 75, Grizzly is definitely rougher in the way it tracks
But that's also
than
because of its
Racer
layout.
75.
It's like such a more compact, such a like Race 75
No.
just goes
No.
out. It does. It. I don't. That's my
I
opinion.
mean, yes, you're right, but that's not why it's rough. It's rough because the track hasn't been maintained the way it should be. Now, it's possible that it's more force on it, which means that it should be required. It should have more maintenance than what Racer
It
75
takes a
has.
lot more sharper turns. It does a lot more
Yes,
aggressive
but
elements.
the whole failure point is they weren't maintaining it properly.
You see, but we were coming from two different points of view. I don't think Grizzly's rough at all, like at all. I don't think the jackhammering's that bad. I don't think anything in that nature is bad. I think that one turn is where a lot of people complain about, and that's all I'm saying. So I'm saying, so for me, I don't feel like the maintenance has been that bad on it because I think it's pretty smooth, honestly. Which is probably unpopular, but I don't think it's that bad at all. I've never gotten a ride on Grizzly where I'm like, oh my god, that was so bad. I can't go like on any longer.
I've
And I'm not
well,
saying you saying that
I've
either, but I'm just saying that that's like how some people
I mean,
claim it to be.
I will say there have been a couple times that I've had a ride that was like that one kind of hurt a little bit, but it's not common on Grizzly for me. But just objectively, I feel like Grizzly, just because it doesn't track as well as Racer 75, doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it is a little bit rougher in its tracking. Just the way the coaster, tracks on, I mean, things deteriorate. You can't just let I mean, if you just let a coaster run until it falls apart, it's going to get rough at some. It's going to get really rough at some point, and you can't blame that. Like, oh, that's a PTC and it fell apart. Well, that's not PTC's fault. They weren't maintaining it properly, and I think that's where the roughness thing comes in.
Yeah, well, we can
And
talk about
yes,
this
I
for
agree.
hours.
So we could.
And it's again, I think it's a very more complex discussion than a lot of people think. A lot of people are just like it's rough. Like that's just like again, like it's just almost like a universally accepted thing, you know?
Well, one
Like
of the
that's
problems that happens in the enthusiast community is one person says it's rough, the next person goes and rides it and looks at it and says, "Oh yeah, you're right, that's rough," because they were looking for the roughness rather than people just experiencing it on their own.
yeah,
The echo chamber is real.
yeah.
I mean, regardless of my points, like the echo chamber is a
But I
big
again,
part of this.
I still think that who wrote in the individual that wrote in and said I consider most rough coasters bad. I think that's how I don't think if you don't like that feeling, I feel like all of them should be included in the same category. I don't feel like I just don't like people picking and choosing. I don't like that. I don't like, oh, well, that one's rough, that one's not, that one's rough, that one's not. And they're like pretty much identical or similar ride in terms of how they ride and how they run. Um, I just don't get just like Wildcat and Lightning Racer. I don't understand how you can love Lightning Racer and then go ride Wildcat and go, oh, that sucked, that was rough, that was awful. I mean, there's Lightning Racer and Wildcat run pretty much the same. Like they're pretty
I
identical in how they
completely
ride on the track, and it's crazy to me
well,
that
and but see, here's the thing too with Lightning Racer and Wildcat, they're roughly the same age. They have the same maintenance department.
yeah,
Like, there's not
the same
really a chance
trains.
for them to Yeah, although I still wish Wildcat would get the PTCs back. I just
All
want
right,
but
well, let's
that's another
move on to
that's
some
another
new
story.
responses here. Yes, rattles are awful. So we're talking about steel coasters now. Rattles are awful and ruin good coasters. Wooden coasters not as much as I like the jank. So he's saying he likes that jankiness, that jackhammering that you encounter on wooden coasters. But that's a good point. We haven't talked about steel coasters. So he's saying the rattle ruins any good steel coaster pretty much, which I don't agree with at all. I
I
think
don't
that,
think it ruins it necessarily. Um, I mean, I do like I-305 in the back has a rattle. Um,
and that's the best road to
I
ride it in.
can't.
So I mean, that proves it right there.
No, see, I rattle excluded. I disagree with you. I really like the front in I-305, but
If you want to black
that's
out, if you
another
want to gray
story.
out every single time and get the most intense ride experience, the back is where to go. No doubt in my
No,
mind.
not necessarily.
I,
But
I
regardless, my point is,
ride it for
I
yourselves,
can't
guys.
I can't marathon it in the back because my head starts to hurt after a while. But the front, I can, but that doesn't make it a bad ride. Um, but then you look at like Verbolten that has a rattle. I can ride Verbolten over and over and over and over again. Sometimes I think it's just the resonance of the vibration of the rattle. Like some people have like a different resonance frequency, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Another response we got was some woodies are rough but not bad. Something like an SLC though is just bad all around.
No,
And you see, not
no.
even I agree with that because I've ridden.
T3 is amazing.
I don't think Mind Eraser or Riddler's Revenge are. Those are two SLCs I've ridden that I don't think are awful. They're good. They're all right. T3 is not good, but
T3 is good.
Mind
T3 is
Eraser Kansas
awesome.
Wonderland's not good. Or not Mind Eraser. Mind Bender? Is it Mind? No, Mind Eraser is at. Excuse me, Flight Deck at Kansas Wonderland. Not bad. I mean, very bad. Wow, tongue twister right there. We've been going too long, Bob. Holy crap. Move on to the next response. Let's just jump right out of that. Yes, but if a coaster is rough, it has to make up for it in a fun and intense layout. So you're
See
saying,
also Voyage.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's another point. Voyage is definitely rough. Definitely a good ride. Yes, someone said. Layout has everything to do with it. Boring layouts that are rough can destroy a smooth ride with a boring layout. A gray out can make.
Hurler at King's Dominion.
I didn't think Hurler was boring, but yeah.
Meh.
I mean, I like the one at Carowinds is fun.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
It's the
I
same.
actually kind of, I mean, it's not super, I don't know, it's definitely not going to top my charts or anything, but it definitely
No.
is better. The one at King's Dominion, I just always felt, eh, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to call a coaster bad
Yeah.
because I mean, it's a coaster.
All right. Well, someone
I,
said 100% an intense and rough coaster is so much better than a boring and smooth coaster. For example, I'd rather ride a rough SLC all day over a smooth boomerang. I don't
I
necessarily
would have said
disagree.
that until, well, I would have completely agreed with that until I experienced the MK 1212 trains on the Boomerang, and that changed the Boomerang for me
At Hershey.
drastically. Yeah, Hershey's one of them. Carowinds also has it. Um,
Yeah, for some reason I don't like
yeah,
I don't like Carolina Flying Cobras as much, but I do like Sierra Sidewinder. Or just Sierra. Sierra
it's just Sidewinder.
it's just Sidewinder, yeah. Sierra Sidewinder is at Knott's Berry Farm. Excuse me. All right. Someone said yes, Pegasus at Mount Olympus isn't rough besides the turn of the brakes, but it's god awful. So they're saying that a smooth coaster can be god awful. I've heard different, different, different takes on on Pegasus. I've heard some people love it, some people hate it. So it's interesting. I definitely want the same thing with Hades though.
I've heard that about the whole park.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Hades. Same thing with the whole park. Yeah, it's they definitely have a lot of. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like a year ago, everyone was bashing Mount Olympus for how bad of a park it is, and then when it was the first park to reopen, everyone was like, "Let's go to Mount Olympus. This is awesome. Woo!"
See, I think Mount Olympus kind of like, I think that kind of goes to my point. I think it's a maintenance issue there.
I don't know. Maybe I know a lot of people that like those rides up there though. So
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's kind of fallen into that category where they're rough, but what they do outweighs them being rough. But at
yeah,
the same time, like they're rougher than they should be because maintenance has been lacking. So some people see that and they're like, "Oh, that's just terrible." So I don't know. I think that's just one, I think that's a good point of where maintenance comes into play.
and here we go with Bob's go-to coaster. Yes, there is sometimes a good roughness. Example, Voyage, or the Beast, or B&Ms that have that rattle. So, but you see, is a rattle really rough? I mean, if we're
I
gonna
mean,
if we're
yeah,
gonna equate roughness
it's
to
roughness on the
rattles,
track.
that's the closest we can get to a steel track. But rattles, I mean, when you're talking about B&M rattles, or really any rattle in particular, there's definitely a difference in feeling of like a wooden jackhammering and then the steel rattles. The steel rattles aren't at all affecting the ride really. Verbolten
Oh, they do.
has a huge
Some do.
rattle.
Some do though.
Verbolten has one of the probably the
Yeah.
biggest rattle I've ever experienced on a roller coaster, and that's fine. It's a good ride. Intimidator 5 has a
Oh
rattle.
yeah.
It's a great ride. I don't mind it
Steel
anywhere.
curtain has. Steel curtain's weird though, but it has a rattle slash vibration. I don't know. I don't like to call it a rattle because it's so noticeable and so not a problem, which is so weird. Um, it's such an anomaly. Um, but yeah, I mean, a rattle is rough because that's the track becoming wavy. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
mean,
definition of roughness.
I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know really where I stand with the definition of roughness, but again, that's for you guys to decide in your responses here. It's all really just based on a personal take. Uh, and then our final response was yes, duh. Roughness can add to the intensity of a coaster. See Voyage. So
Exactly.
that's yeah. Um, yeah, roughness is weird. It'll continue to be weird. I think it's kind of a weird topic, and I'm still kind of searching for my true explanation and definition of it. It's definitely changed a little bit here and there the past couple weeks as we've gone through this. But indeed, we don't have much more time to discuss roughness. We gotta finish this show up here, and finishing it off, we're gonna prompt you guys for next week's weekly poll. What is the best park entrance that you've ever had? We're going back to the simpler times of just easy questions. We're
Just a
not going to
simple
be
question.
having hour
We're
long
still probably
discussions.
talking about a half hour about this,
Oh
but
God, probably longer than that. Don't jinx us. A half hour will turn into 2.5. Let's just say we're gonna spend 2.5 hours talking about this next week, and then hopefully it'll be like 15 minutes. Uh, yes. So that is about it for this week's episode. Thank you guys all so much for listening. If you want to answer this week's weekly poll, which again is the best park entrances, go to cushionshockpodcast.com/poll. We'll also post it to our social media accounts, and also check out our social media accounts to follow us when we're pertaining to new information with industry news, industry updates. We'll be there at @KosherTalk_pod on Twitter, or at KosherTalkBob on Twitter, where Bob does his own take on industry news and updates and things going on in the enthusiast community. Also follow us on Facebook at KosherTalkPod, Instagram at KosherTalkPod. Check us out on the YouTube channel, Kosher Talk Podcast on YouTube. Contact the show with any comments, questions, or concerns, or if you want to leave a audio file with the show, go to koshertalkpodcast.com/contact. Again, email us, James at koshertalkpodcast.com or Bob at koshertalkpodcast.com with anything you want to share with us about our opinions or about any information you have. Hey, still open to any information about Carowinds, because we have
yes,
no clue what's going on there. We gotta figure out what's going on there. If you
please
guys don't, then
brief
again, I
us.
might have somebody on the show from the park come on the show. So, all right, thank you guys all so much for listening. We'll see you guys all on next week's episode. I feel like each week the shows get longer and longer, even though they're about the same length. I feel like we've been recording
This one's well, this is shorter than last week, but longer than most, I think.
shorter than last week's, but it feels like longer. I don't know. I feel so weird about roughness. Oh my God, you're not gonna want to know what that person just said. The person that said "Yo."
I didn't even see it.
You said howdy.
Yeah,
They said something else after that.
I didn't. Oh, why am I not a moderator anymore? That's what's going on.
You're not?
Wait, or am I? Wait. No, I'm not.
Maybe it changes after. Maybe I have to re-upload it. The Eagles beat the New York Giants. Probably the worst team in the NFL. So I don't really.
I don't care. I just like to get Pam going.
And they won by 1 point. That's amazing. Oh man, I don't know if anybody. I don't have
One.
anybody on my fantasy team for either team, so I don't really care. All right, guys, I gotta hit the sack here. So see you guys.
I need to do the same. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, we'll see Pam this weekend, but everybody else we'll see you later.
See some people this weekend, I guess. A win is a win. Yeah, sure, whatever.